I was muted because that was so fun. My name is Orbital. I'm here and ready to go with the NECC, ready on the B stream to get things underway with our only series here on this stream. I am very excited again. My name is Orbital. With me is the best minion to ever wander off the rift. It is RMC, Random Minion Caster, bringing us all the knowledge here between these two amazing teams. It is Waterloo Warriors Black and Illinois Wesleyan Titans Shield. And RMC, we got a match coming in today.
Yeah, as you said, the only match on this stream tonight here, Orbital, but the only one that we're gonna need, because we've curated only the finest for tonight here. Champions Great Lakes here, and truly living up to his name, it's a champion matchup. We've got two undefeated teams, and I'm not just talking about their match history, their individual games. They are both 6-0, 2 O's in the last 3 weeks here between these two teams. Now, you mentioned Waterloo Warriors Black here. They're new to the NECC, and they are loaded in all their lanes, carries in every single role, and that includes their support as well. Into Overflow, their support likes to play mages, things that can actually do damage here, even whipping out an Oriana support in one of their games thus far. And on the other side, as you mentioned, Illinois Wesleyan Titans Shield. Now, that name sounds kind of familiar because Illinois Wesleyan Titans were the team that won the Champions Heartlands division last split. But there's a small difference. That was their Sword roster. This split, they're bringing their Shield roster and looking to continue that tradition of victory.
You know, you would think if you're bringing in the Shield roster, it may be a little bit safer, right? A little bit more passive. No. This is the brutal Shield that's going to knock you over, completely flatten you, just punch you all the way through. Because, I mean, again, complete domination throughout the first 3 weeks of play is not easy to pull off. This is champions. These are players that are very good, that play at the top of the game as much as possible. And, you know, that leads to very strong scenarios. And I expect these teams to bring out a certain level of skill, to also bring out a certain level of competence when it comes to, you know, map rotations, champion selection, and all that fun stuff. So very excited to see what can be brought down. I mean, RMC, we got to talk about some very unique players here. Let's go ahead and start with Waterloo side, because for me, it is the most interesting. Regretful Angel, Senpai Cheese, Plex, Scrim, and Int Overflow. A lot of players on here. Sophomores, juniors, going to be bringing a lot of fun for us here today.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, this is a team that has carries in every single role who can pop off here. I mean, we mentioned Int Overflow likes their mage-style champions here, but when I asked them who should we watch out for, they told me watch out for Senpai Cheese there in the jungle, because this guy, he likes to cook. And I'm not just talking in the kitchen. He likes to cook in the kitchen as well, but he also likes to cook on the Rift. His signature champions, you know, being champions like Fiddlesticks and Graves, champions that aren't terribly meta currently, but can have a lot of impact. I'm thinking back to Fiddlesticks. We've seen some of those on stream here in the NECC already. Champions that can turn team fights and can cause a lot of chaos with their map control, ability to take down wards. Their gang pathing as well can be very interesting, and I think that's something we'll have to watch for, gangs coming through from Senpai Cheese. But on the other side, Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield here, and their roster: Shark Eye in the top lane, Fable in the jungle, Fright in the mid lane, Handy Taco and Ruthless holding up the bot lane here. Again, you know, we've seen the Sword roster, that took the crown. This is now the Shield roster that's going to defend Sid Crown here. And the ones my eyes are on is Fright and Handy Taco, the two big carries for this team. They do a lot of damage, and Handy Taco has been spamming Samira every single time it's not banned. He picks it, and I'm hoping that Waterloo don't ban it, because I love watching good Samira play.
Good Samira players make you both respect the player and rage to infinite degrees, right? That is, I don't want to see the Inferno come out anytime soon, but when you do, it's like, you pulled it off, right? You did a very nice job, and as you said, it is a champion that has been spammed by Handy Taco quite a bit, so maybe we get to see it. If not, though, I mean, there are some other ones that can be played. I believe we were taking a look earlier, right? And we know that the Jhin is in there, so that's been kind of the two picks that they fluctuate between. So for Handy Taco, very excited to see what they can lay down. I'm also interested in those mid lanes, as you were touching on a little bit. Fright has some of the more interesting champions, but of course we're already into Champion Select. As you can go ahead and see, the bans are flying fast and quick, and come on! Why would you do that? The Samira banned away. Sad days.
You know what? You can't blame Waterloo. They did their homework and they went, okay, we know it's going to be a Samira every single time here, so they do take it off the board. top side orbital, a lane that we didn't focus too much on here, but we already see that particular matchup come through. And we talked about carries. Regretful Angel, being somebody who has played 2 games of Fiora, or 3 games for me of Fiora, already half their games on a massive carry. Camille feels like a good pick, but Sharkive is a little bit interesting here because, unfortunately for Sharkive, a lot of times he kind of has to play more supportive or lower econ champions because the team has to focus Anti-Taco. If not, Anti-Taco on the Samira, it begs to go in. If you don't get backup, sometimes that can be a little bit rough. So Sharkive often left on his own. But he's actually a huge Kled and Darius player. So the Kled got banned, and he fell back on that Darius, a huge lane bully, and one that Camille is going to struggle into.
And another fun fact, Sharkive is also playing one of 6 unique champions that they have played in the past. Not so unique anymore is the Darius, but again, spamming out so many different champions is very, very fun. But we do have to talk about the fact that these champions being locked in are very, very spicy. We already touched on the top lane, but the one that surprises me most is that mid lane, because the Aurelion Soul was actually blind picked on the side of Waterloo Warriors Black. It was the first pick, and it was almost a phantom ban from Fright. Fright, who has played a lot of Aurelion Soul, and they answered immediately with the Cho'Gath. That was very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, so Fright has been practicing a lot of ASOL in solo queue. If you look up their OPGG profile, you'll see that, and I'm sure Waterloo did. Now, the thing is, if you excel at a particular champion, or you've been playing it a lot, you not only know how to play the champion, but you also know how to counter that champion. And when we saw that Cho'Gath in the draft screen, bro, you and I at first were thinking, oh, it's Cho'Gath in the top lane, because Cho'Gath got buffed. We've been seeing a lot of the top lane Cho'Gath. But when we realized it's going to mid lane, I really like this. This is something Fright probably had to run into in solo queue, or Theory Crafted knows that there's a lot of interrupts here, and Aurelion Soul depends a lot on being able to channel that Breath of Light. If he's interrupted, he can't get his damage out. So really strong, solid pickup coming through from Illinois Wesleyan. The other one, the supports, we mentioned Int Overflow as well, liking damage champions. The Lux actually picked up by Waterloo. To me, that was actually more of a Ruthless champion for Illinois Wesleyan and Shield here. Ruthless, that's one of her most played champions, and one that she likes to whip out here in the NECC. So it feels like Waterloo, they're playing a game of keep away. They're taking a lot of champions away from Titan Shield, whereas Titan Shield, they've got counters, they've got champions that they're very comfortable on, like the Jhin that you mentioned coming through from Handy Taco with that Samira ban, like the Darius or Sharkive as well.
So many ways to play against an opponent, right? One is steal away the champions, another is just play your own game, and it seems like for the Shield squad, it's forced into their own nature. You are forced to play okay, we'll play our own game with what chips you have left us, and I'm very, very excited. But I mean, RMC, I know you got to talk a little bit with the Wesleyan squad, and I mean, there were some very fun things that they were talking about. I think they were very excited coming into this matchup.
Yeah, both these teams are really excited to come into it. Like we mentioned, both teams currently 6-0. Neither team have dropped a single game thus far. And coming into tonight, both teams were preparing really well for each other, in terms of what they think the matchup is going to look like. And we're already seeing that in draft, but I think a lot of it's just going to come down to the laning, actually. The sort of 1v1s, at least here in this particular game 1, where they are kind of fueling each other out to start. So not expecting, an explosive mid-game necessarily, more off the laning. And I personally suspect that we're going to see shorter laning phases actually come through. I think the losing team is going to start rotating out a little bit quicker. I feel like there's a lot of champions both sides have picked that can kind of help you catch up if your laning goes poorly. You've got champions like J4, like Wukong, both of whom excel in these sort of brawls, skirmishes, team fights. But you actually want to see them more at the objectives rather than in the lanes.
I could definitely see that. Hey, listen, it ain't going well. We got to find a very quick other tactic, and you got to make that move very, very fast. It's snap decision calls that I'm excited to see what they can do. Of course, we should be underway here shortly with game number 1, and it's 1 of 3. I don't expect either team to back down, but I do expect one of them to really try and push their metal, really sit down and say, okay, if we won game 1, we want to win game number 2 right away, because we are at that midway point. You do not want to give up a single game from here on out. A lot riding on these players, and a lot riding in general, I think, just in the pride factor. So very, very excited. RMC, taking a look at the champions that we have seen. I know you were talking a little bit about the side of Waterloo as well as the Wesleyan squad. Is there a side that you do feel like you're going to enjoy a little bit more, that you just enjoy the synergy out of it? Is there one that you feel we should be keeping eyes on specifically in case they make a mistake that is a little bit of an overstep.
Personally, I like the champions Waterloo have picked up. I love Aurelion Sol. I used to play him a long time ago before either of his reworks in the past there. And I like I detest Ashlux, but it is a very effective lane. So I like what Waterloo have drafted themselves here. But I think Illinois Wesleyan, they're coming to this having prepped really well, having a lot of answers of their own to deal with this Azul, to deal with that Camille, with that Darius here. So despite the champions that I like being on Waterloo side, I do think Titan Shield have won out a little bit here in the pick and ban phase with how they want to play things out. And my eyes are kind of in that top lane for this Darius or this Camille, because I've seen enough games where Darius has end up 1v5ing. And even though we came to this with the expectation that maybe bot lane's a bit more interesting, Handy Taco on Samira, but Handy Taco not on Samira, I don't know if he's going to be as explosive as the Darius potentially could be. So this game, at least, my eyes, top side.
All right. And I mean, I believe last week, actually, we had a pentakill with the Darius, which was really, really fun to watch. So I do agree. I do agree that Darius can be an absolute monster. It can be really, really freaking annoying. And if Waterloo's not ready, it can be dangerous. But for me, I know you touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to dive into it. I get to see Aurelion Sol. I'm excited. I love the champion and what they've done, because I'm a very don't do anything really and just farm. And the fact that Azul, his ult, does better if you farm better makes me so happy. So we are on to the Rift with game number 1. Waterloo Warriors versus the Titan Shield squad. Who will come out on top? Into Overflow, though, might be the first one to not enjoy this festivities, and Ruthless, checking that bush, gives a very warm welcome.
I like the idea coming through from the Titans here. I do feel like it was a little bit overambitious. I don't really think you've got the CC to lock people down level 1. You've got the Darius pool if you want to start that way, the Apprehend, or you've got the Cho'Gath Rupture. But Cho'Gath Rupture is actually pretty hard to land at extreme ranges, so they were just looking for the poke. The idea was there. They get the vision down. Of course, I believe that on the side of Waterloo, they also got vision down as well. They do see Sharkive in this bush, so kind of just trade of information. And of course, Waterloo wins out because they got the poke on into Overflow. So that's, what, 75 gold? 60 gold? Win?
It's always a win, as long as you don't die. I think that's what every support says against an invade. You're happy you didn't die. You're good. You're good. It is an early sack, though, and we are going to see that standard or red bus start for both of these junglers. Going to meet on opposite sides of the map, unless we get some cheese, which, Senpai cheese. Let's go ahead and say it for what it is. There's a reason it's in the name, so maybe we get it there. Oh, this is why level 2, baby. That's going to be a swing in. Flash out of Ruthless, a flash to follow. Senpai cheese tries to get a couple more auto attacks down, but Handy Taco does have flash available, so they're going to try and burn both and give themselves a massive advantage. EQ is coming up, and there it is, but the tower shot is there, so you have to burn the heal into Overflow. Saves their jungler. That is 2 summoner spells for 2, but honestly, the flashes are a bit more important.
Okay, so that should have been, on paper, a massive win for Waterloo there, but Senpai Cheese took the extra turret shot, and now he's a lot further behind than what he wants to be. He's slower in terms of the clear as well, and the pressure they put down into Handy Taco and Ruthless is somewhat nullified. Scrim and Into Overflow will still enjoy that lane, the advantage they have. They only burnt the heals. They both have flashes available here. Senpai Cheese, though, I would love for him to go for the regank right now.
It doesn't actually look like he's going to try because he wants to focus on another area. It's Overflow, though, with no heal. Remember, they are in a little bit of danger. Because of that, it's getting spicy here in the bot side. Another set of pokes, though, means Handy Taco will not be allowed to really stay in lane. And while this is going on, check out the junglers. Yeah. They are on a rough spot, but Fable has flash. Remember, there is no flash on Senpai Cheese. You don't have anything, so this should be easy first blood. So well done by Fable. Realizes that flash is down, and you say, thank you for the kill.
That's the problem, Cheese. When things get hot, it melts. Senpai Cheese, this is why I much preferred the bot lane gank. It was a very high risk, high reward play that Senpai Cheese tried to do. If it had worked, Fable would have been slowed down as well, and that early gank that went sour for Waterloo wouldn't matter. You'd be back on parity. But because you failed, you gave up that kill. You're even further behind now. And you look at the topside jungle, Sharkive is bullying out Senpai Cheese. Senpai Cheese can't get any of his buffs anywhere anymore.
I mean, that's a sacrifice. You went for the gamble, but now it's a price to pay. And we talked about it a little bit. The root on the bot side, though. Int Overflow is able to pick it up. It is spicy. Ruthless has heal available. One more auto attack might be able to shave him down enough to burn that summoner spell, but it's a win for them. And honestly, if you didn't get a win after how much J4 has given and now lost on the top side, you'd be feeling pretty bad if you're Waterloo.
I mean, if you're Waterloo, the top side still feels really bad right now. They've called Plex in as well, Sharkai.
All right, well, that's a flash, and now a draw in, so multiple sets of damage. Now a knock up on multiple, giving time for Sharkai to live, and because of that, you turn the kill without any real mana. Plex is nothing more than a lazy dragon. Sharkai draws the flash out of Plex as well. Regretful Angel, though, with a lot of mana to spare, means Sharkai is going to take a slow rotate back. I mean, Sharkai, though, is going to be so happy about that exchange.
Senpai Chi still level 3, still with only the bot side cleared. And not able to take anything. Fable now camping this top side. Note that Fable doesn't even take the blue buff, pardon me. Was just scouting out and I think trying to see if, hey, can I punish Senpai Cheese again? Might actually punish Regretful Angel, who's pushing out here. Angel still has flash though, should be safe.
I mean, should be safe, but says I don't care about safe. I actually want to fight. Remember, there's no flash on either jungler, so Fable is going to fall. And it's Revenge of the Junglers. So well done on that regank, and a good call by Regretful Angel said, hey, I don't even have to flash, I just want to fight. And it gives time for Senpai Cheese to start fighting back a bit.
Yeah, that call is great because they also knew that Sharkai was pushed in under turret really badly. There were so many minions that Sharkai couldn't actually walk up. If they drew minion aggro, pardon me, the minions alone would probably have finished off Fable and Sharkai here. So a very action-packed start to this game. Orbital, I know it only feels like, oh, it's less than a kill a minute, but it's early yet, and the junglers have been just going non-stop at it. If we take a look at how the lanes have panned out for now, Sharkai dominating top as we expected. We saw a surprise kill for Scrim and Int Overflow in that bot side, where Ruthless didn't even heal because she didn't think that Taco was going to go down there. The Ashe Lux lane we talked about, very obnoxious, very effective as well. And so what we're kind of getting right now is the map splitting vertically, where Waterloo is winning top side, but Titan's winning, pardon, other way around. Waterloo is winning bot side, and Titan Shield's winning top side.
With how much fighting there's been, it doesn't even feel the sides on their own. So I don't, you know, my brain doesn't want to work either. Everything's messing up because of how much fighting has been going on. The early game has been so much fun, and now the bot side is again in a little bit of trouble. Handy Taco does get the heal, but another flash into auto works. But in the mid lane, we see the Chomp, and this is one we have not gotten to talk about because Plex stole away Fright's champion, and because of that, Fright brings out a frightening champion of their own, a solo kill under the tower in mid, and a kill on the bot side for Scrim.
Yeah, let's talk about mid, because as you mentioned, overall, that's the lane we kind of haven't talked about. Offset, hold up. Sharkai hit 6 here.
Wait. Listen, Colorcaster, gotta wait a little bit. Draws out and away. Regretful Angel wants to go in, flashes in, and is gonna be able to dodge out on the empowered Q. That's the second kill for Regretful Angel.
Sharkai just a little bit too slow, unfortunately. He was trying to get the damage down, trying to hit that 6 and looking to try and turn it. Wasn't able to do so. Comes back to bite him, but you know what? That's fine for Sharkai. The Darius is going to be okay. You just have to be a bit more respectful when you get back to lane and be aware that Camille pretty strong right now. That's probably going to continue until second item. Plex walking into Fable.
We have tried 3 times now, I think, to let you talk, but these teams do not want to let any sort of analysis go down. Fable is able to kill the fabled Star Slinger. Plex will go down for their second death.
And now we're over a kill a minute, Orbital.
Yeah!
We expected harsh early game. A lot of laning kills to come through. It's happening. And 7.5 or 7:45 minutes in, we see first drag finally being taken by the side of Titan Shield. We had set the map was split vertically a little bit for them. Things have changed a little bit. For one, Fright winning out the mid lane actually opens up the map a lot more for Titan Shield. And now, you know, for Illinois, Wesleyan here, the big question is where do they go from here? Sharkai kind of losing out the top side a little bit. Handy Taco is actually getting zoned out of experience range in the bot lane right now.
There's so many things not going the way of the Titans right now, and as you said, it's got to be finding that angle back in, and this is, you know, one of the fun ways. It's Fright having some fun in the mid lane, just dancing all over, you know, trying to chomp down and get some auto attacks off. And now it's a chance to turn the favor on the spot lane. It's multiple ultis going down, and they just burst down the Karma. but it might be a trade back.
Also
Fable
cycling.
is going to try and do some work. No red buff to slow them, though, so Scrim and Int Overflow survive. They're actually going to turn a little bit of extra damage down. The root does not land, but it's enough to scare them off. Well done by Scrim and Int Overflow to take that opportunity.
And that's the experience lead we're talking about. The fact that Handy Taco got zoned out of minion experience range meant that Scrim hit that level 6 sooner. And Scrim and Int Overflow have both been doing great. Int's been landing a ton of bindings, but Scrim as well, with this Ashe, playing it really aggressively, just running down this Karma and this Jhin over and over and over again. And you saw zero hesitation. Hit 6, arrow immediately. Pull that trigger, find that kill.
The arrows have landed true. But right now, Scrim and Int Overflow, I don't think have any mana for those extra arrows or anything of the sort. Int Overflow does, but might have stepped up a little bit too far. There's nothing to really save Int, so Scrim is going to chase away for their life, leaving Overflow as a sacrifice. Still picks up a kill. Okay, you know what? You'll take it. As Int Overflow, I didn't think the mana was there. Had plenty. I apologize for disrespecting that Lux.
A lot of damage. And Int Overflow had flash the entire time as well. They made the decision, hey, I don't think I'm going to get away. I'm just going to turn about all the damage. And for Illinois Wesleyan here, that's a little bit worrying. Arrow just barely whiffs. You can see the dive was set up now. I don't actually know if the dive goes that well. It feels like Regretful has to land everything and dodge out on the pool to be able to make it work, but was kind of close. And Flex in this mid lane.
Oh my gosh.
We knew it was going to be rough. Fright's Cho'Gath counter was a really good one on paper, and Fright looks really practiced on it. That's not something a lot of mid laners have been playing. Like we said, right now Cho'Gath top is where we usually see it, and I get worried when that flash comes back up. I think Fright's just going to dive and get another kill with that beast.
It's, you know, when you eat dragon once, you kind of gain a taste for it, right? It's like that delicacy that you don't always get. I think it's perfect. I really do. Int Overflow, though, looks like there might have been a connectivity issue, and that one hurts right there. Int Overflow, there it is. Rough timing overall, and unfortunately with that, I do believe it is, unless the team calls for it, it will not stop. The game will not stop.
Yeah, it's up to your team to pause in time there. Maybe it wasn't a connectivity issue. The thing with the Jhin Karma lane as well is the CC chain's actually really, really long if you can just land one of the roots first. And once it comes down, then there's a chance that Int Overflow never had a chance to move. Flash isn't back up.
Well, you're not too worried about that because Plex just came back to lane. And that's the scary thing, right? That's how you stop an Aurelion Soul, and Fright knows that very, very well. I love it so much. The arrow, though, landing on Handy Taco, an immediate Captain Jack cleanse, but the ulti, the final spark doing so much work here. Fright, though. Fright is chasing, and they're going to get the knock-up. They are going to get the root, but remember, there is a flash and the root! Oh, but the knock-up is enough. The damage is so good from AP Cho, and they're going to look. Do you get the nom? No, you don't. It's going to be a 1-for-2 trade, though, in favor of the Titan Shield squad.
Yeah, and I think that just shows you how strong this Cho'Gath counter is right now. Yeah, sure, they were under your turret, you ganked them, and they still found the kills. Handy Taco solo had to flash. Is it? Okay, it's enough for now. And to level up to make sure, but it's getting real scary, and that final spark from Int Overflow, that's almost off cooldown. Taco, I don't know if staying is safe.
I mean, you got nothing. If you're not careful, Int Overflow is ready. There it is! It's a snipe! The snipe against the sniper! It works so well.
I don't understand. We literally saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah. So good, so good.
And that was really good from Int Overflow as well. The positioning of Int, he actually walked back into such a position where, because you can see the Jhin, right? Your minion wave is there. You knew exactly where Taco was. And he positioned in such a way that Taco had nowhere to go because of that wall. And unfortunately for Taco, that's why you shouldn't greed for that. This bot lane is just swinging harder and harder in the favor of Waterloo. I'm just waiting for that Medjai's for Int Overflow right now.
I'm excited to see it as well. Sharkive, though, this is a hard dance in. Another flash to get close, but you do not get enough damage behind it. It was a well-fought battle. Sharkive tried their hardest, but Regretful, again, with that flash, has been able to mitigate so much of that Q damage.
So, Orbital, remember when we were talking about playing respectfully as Darius a little bit behind? Hold up, bot side.
Listen, there ain't no respect anywhere. This is just all-out aggression from the Waterloo Warriors. You know, I had a good friend from Waterloo send me a little bit of a message saying they were ready for tonight, and my gosh, is the squad giving us an absolute feast of a game. 18 kills and 1340 so far in this game number 1, and they don't look like they're going to stop at all. That's going to be a little bit of a clone out.
Fable.
Yeah, Senpai Cheese saying, listen, you can't do that in front of me. That is disrespect in the face of a J4.
Yeah, they were looking for it, but the moment I think you saw Fright kind of walk off, Fable had to walk off as well. That strong point for Illinois in that bot side is that Cho'Gath still is.
At this point, it's if you get knocked up, you will die if Cho'Gath has ulti. I like it. Oh, Final Spark.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. You know what? The Dark Seal's there. I'm cool. I'm all okay with this. It is already set to go. Fright, though, might just straight up. If you had if Fright had Chase, that would have been a kill. 100%. You don't even need the knob. That's crazy.
Okay, you know what? I've seen a picture of Fright, and that man is jacked. Both in real life and in game right now. 3, 1, and 2 on this Cho'Gath. Like, sure, Fable's 3, 2, and 1, but Fright is doing a lot of this solo here, and it feels like for Illinois Wesleyan, a lot of their hopes are relying on this Cho'Gath. Yeah, Tiny Taco's dead. If Flash isn't up, if Cleanse isn't up, that Jhin is insta-dead. And as much as we're talking up Fright right now for Waterloo, it's all about Scrim and into Overflow in this bot lane. And because they took first hurt as well, Orbital, it's time for Ashe and Lux to go to other lanes. It's time, I think, for them to try and deal with Fright in this mid lane, because I think they're the only ones who can. And even then, I'm not completely sure against an AP Cho'Gath.
I mean, you can kite a little bit, right? And that's what you're hoping for. Right now, though, topside again, Regretful Angel is getting a little bit aggressive here. Decided to full-on take that fight. And it's burned down to about half. So, you know, Sharkai, for the first time, does not die to the all-in combo. But Regretful still has the ulti saying, hey, I want a chance. And I'm just watching because that has been some... It's been awesome aggression in the top side. I have to give a lot of credit, right? 1v1s are always fun to me. And the fact that these two have been doing it so much is ridiculous. And I mean, this is ruthless. You can't be walking on your own. She's been trying her best, but it's currently 0-2. This is how you deal with the Cho'Gath, though. From jungle to mid, you bring everyone and the artillery. The zone in brings a kill on Fright. Now Regretful Angel will get womboed on their own. Almost takes a 1 away, but it is not going to be enough. Top lane does go down, but a majority share of the value will be given to the mid lane.
Yeah, and Waterloo, they did pick up Herald as well before that series of plays, so they're rotating very effectively right now. Drops Herald mid, gets that turret. They're pushing in for the inner as well.
Ooh.
And look at Illinois Wesleyan. Nobody can respond. Without Fright here, they can't step up. We saw Int Overflow single-handedly almost solo out Ruthless. Int can do that to Handy Taco, and if Scrim is anywhere nearby, it's almost a guaranteed kill on these squishy.
So good. Fable, though, saying, I want to take this chance here. Look at Scrim, though. Look at the auto attacks. Fable is not ready for it. The extra damage having to flash away, but the laser! It's Overflow! It's trying to get every single stack on that Dark Seal. Say, gimme those kills. Senpai Cheese, though, a little bit further away. Sharkai might get a blast cone in and is going to get the root. But look at the extra damage. Senpai Cheese said, no way. My team is here. My team's stronger than yours. Does not get punished. They pick up the kill on the Wukong, and this is Waterloo Warriors pushing their advantage.
Yeah, and Overflow right now putting the final in that final spark as well. I don't think he's missed a single one, and almost every single time we've seen it out of lane, it's securing a kill for Titan Shield, for Illinois Wesleyan here. If they want to find the end, they need to find the end gauge, pardon me. If you can't get in range right now, Scrim and Into Overflow, they're just gonna constantly damage you, keep that range. That Ashe Lux combo has so much CC that if you don't have an instant gap closer, you're kind of done. And the problem is, I don't know if Titan Shield have a way back into this right now. Fable can't get in there. Flash is still down. And if Fable isn't engaging, who else has a chance of reaching Scrim and Overflow?
You're praying for Sharkai to have Flash Ghosts up and just run at them. You're like, Darius, go do Darius things and pray you don't get destroyed by their power, because I agree, there isn't really another great option for them. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Right now, Fable and Ruthless are on a hunt for someone. A single person is all they really need to start bringing gold back in. And I mean, it's going to be a chance and a half, but Sharkai, Regretful Angel, we've seen this song and dance before, and Sharkai wants nothing to do with it. Laser? Laser just because, and lands on Ruthless once again. Int Overflow has something against Karma players, I swear.
I mean, it's not just because the cooldown for Final Spike Soul, look at it. It's already 1/3 of the way through. And Ruthless, half health, without even the passive of that Lux to increase the damage there. They have the vision. To me, what's more impressive is Waterloo's vision setup right now. And Illinois Wesleyan have not been able to clear it. They need to, because if Lux can see you, Lux can kill you.
I see, I kill, I'm done. That's what's going to be the scary notion here. But right now, with this Chemtech Dragon coming up, everyone's coming down for a piece of it. And Senpai Cheese is going to try and get away. But a massive stun lands, knocks them all up. Senpai Cheese lives for a little bit longer than expected, but still dies. So look at the channel. But oh my gosh, Handy Taco tried to prop up the final curtain call and instead draws himself in a dangerous spot. Sharkive, though, going to pinch on the soft side of the pincer and will go down. But look at the other three. It is a 3-on-3 now. Another knockout Fright wants to kill on Scrim and is going to get the chop. Sharkive lives for a little bit longer. A double root is going to be enough to stave off another set of kills. But my gosh, did the Titan Shield squad fight that at an appropriate level.
Yeah, and Titan Shield live up to the name. They are incredibly resilient, just barely able to eke out a win there. Now, the problem is, of course, that you got the kills, you got the gold. Great. You're not getting the objectives here. It's a Chemtech Drake, and it's only the second one for Waterloo, but it's not ideal. Fright's actually walking back in here. I'd love to see them contest it. Senpai Cheese is running as quick as he can.
I don't know if they have the timer on the dragon, but they say, listen, we're not going to take that chance on that feast. We're going to make sure we get the smite, and we do. The fight's been going on long enough, and now they're going to burn Fright, who again, it's all HP. And guess what an Aurelian Soul likes? It is going to be watching an arrow land on the support. They re-engage fight number 3, if you will. It is going to be Senpai Cheese falling, but you'll take 2, and the objective, a big win for Waterloo Warriors once again.
So Waterloo just equalized the things, right? Originally, Illinois Wesleyan, they won out by 1 kill. This time they lose by 1 kill. And the Dragon is that difference maker here. Waterloo able to pick that up. And you're talking about timings. Do they know timings? Hold up, Sharkive. Oh, Plex is so good.
Yeah. That's going to be Plex just roaming right out. Said not today at all. And Sharkive, you know, still hunting for those kills, still hunting to be a ridiculous Darius, but Plex, you know, we said this was a steal away from Fright, but it's still looking pretty dang experienced on this champion.
Yeah, Plex definitely looking good on it. I'm actually surprised the Apprehend didn't pull Plex out of that, the dash there, or the flight, because if you could yank, or if it had landed, then I think Sharkive actually would have found the kill. That was a great catch from within the bush. But overall, you know, I kind of go back to what we were saying before, you know, we were talking about tracking things, and for the side of Illinois Wesleyan, one thing they need to track as well is how quickly Waterloo can respond to objective. We saw Plex getting to that fight pretty quickly to back up Senpai Cheese there, and that is something that they have to be aware of. Fable?
Fable? Yeah, Fable thought it was a 3v1 and realized quickly it was a 2v1 on his side and said, I don't want anything about this, please get me out of here. Decides to walk away, but that is going to be the blast cone taken away, which I think is very important for this Baron. Remember, they do want to try and take this in a slightly good manner. They go ahead and just ward it up, say no reason to take it right now. Instead, we're going to look for another pinch. Oh, no. Do they find it? Handy Taco? Didn't walk up far enough. So, you know what? 6 cents to Handy Taco, who has died a few too many times for their liking.
Taco still has flash, so worst comes to worst, you can flash away. It'd be ideal if they can burst it early. And for Waterloo, I like this respect they're showing, because they know that, hey, bot side, we didn't really win that fight. And I think a large part of that was the interference that Sharkive ran in that game. Now, Sharkive in this 1v1 not winning here.
It's not a 1v1, it's a 2v2 with low HP, and the laser helps out from long range. It's still a 1-for-1, which is very much appropriate, and the laser is not going to do too much from Handy Taco. Not so much a laser as much as a heat-seeking missile, but Fable said get bopped. They take the top and jungle because of that leave and expose Baron. So well done from Wesleyan Titan Shield. They will take their hard-earned objective.
That was absolutely massive. It is still a 3v4. Plux is running up right now. And look at the poke that Overflow and Scrim can put down. Oh, Scrim.
So, that was painful. Plex said, I want to be painful too. Is going to get a little bit of a root. Gets a stun down, but look at the giant AoE. The giant AoE lands. It is the dragon calling in the star. You stall out the Baron, and you know what? Secondary objective or primary objective completed. But it's your HP that's going to be the problem, Ruthless. I don't know if you want the burn damage. I don't know if you want that. TP coming in. Regretful Angel saying, listen, we've been fighting all game long. Let's keep fighting as much as possible. Dodges out on the knockup. Finds Fable. One more auto attack should do it. No, the ownage. That is going to be a very small survival Fable with the extra lifesteal is able to survive for a little bit longer. Respectful, though. Said, I can't get Fable. I will take the Cho'Gath instead. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. This is all out. There is no macro thought behind anyone's eyes except I see objective, I go for objective, and we'll fight if we fight.
I don't say there's no thought. I think both teams are trying desperately. They're going back and forth here, and it's really well played. I keep thinking, like, okay, at what cost? Or what is this Baron worth to y'all? And it's worth almost everything. And it worked out for Waterloo. Yeah, they ended up dying one after another, but they chased up the Wesleyan. They're taking this so quickly. Baron's in their pocket, and the game felt like it was slipping a little bit away from them with Fright and Sharkive and Fable, finding pick after pick after pick. But this helps to re-control the game a little bit. It'll help them with the push, it'll help them with the fights, and in 30 seconds, Orbital, that's the big one. If Waterloo can win that dragon, they're in a great position to break the base open. If they lose right there, well, that's a big problem, because now, Fright, Fable, Sharkive, all of them are coming fully back online to the mid to late.
And I think they understand this as well, and they should also feel quite confident because the kills do not show the full story, right? You take a look at the gold disadvantage currently against the Wesleyan, and it does not reflect in that kill count. So right now, Waterloo Warriors are extremely strong. Regretful Angel just standing forward because there's a pinch coming around. Sharkive got behind him, and they're going to fight it out. That's going to be a laser to take a 1-for-1, but Senpai Cheese is dead, and Sharkive is in the back lines. There is no problems coming through. A great stun, though. Slows things down. Round number 2 means the laser comes out, but a flash. Sharkive survives and is able to dodge away from the Aurelian Soul. It is once again Wesleyan Titan Shield that come out with the team fight victory.
Well, bro, you called it earlier. When I questioned how they were going to engage, you said, Sharkive, Flash, Ghost, just run in there. And he did just that. Angel looking for Taco here.
Consolation prize. You ain't getting out of that one, I'm sorry.
Taco, that's the rough life of an AD carry. You feel really strong in team fights when everybody's protecting you. And Taco did a bunch of damage with those dancing grenades and whatnot. But when you're on your own, you're in trouble. Ruthless, probably soon to follow.
Yep. Ruthless said, all right, bot lane's just down for the count. Regretful Angel said, yep, that's a plan. That's actually going to be a knockup and into the CC chain and shop. Regretful Angel does have to realize that while Sharkive might not be a dangerous one, there's a frightful presence inside of a nearby bush.
I don't even blame Regretful Angel for that. Like, you were the last man standing. You did so much work. You found kills. You killed both Handy Taco and Ruthless. Great fix. And Fright, Fable, kind of low. But you have to remember, this is not tanky Cho'Gath. This is AP Cho'Gath. And it feels like a lot of this game, Orbital, is just who is finding the pigs here. There's so much damage for both the teams that anybody on their own is a viable target to be bursted down. The only two who can maybe be on their own is Sharkive and Regretful Angel. And even then, we've seen, it just takes 2 people to kill you. They don't have to call everybody in. Scrim.
Life of an ADC is great. Everything is fine.
I don't know if we can talk about the life of AD carries anymore, Orbital. It feels like the life of AD carries. I'm just waiting for Taco to get caught now, too.
It feels so bad. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's going to happen again.
Yep.
There it is. Oh, my gosh.
AD carries in 2023, guys.
Life of an ADC will never not be funny, everyone. This has been a ridiculous game, 25-25. Fright's on a run for his life as the HP dwindles away. He will fall as bot lane is taking a duel and a half. But oh my gosh, I don't know why that chain of events looks so funny to me, but it was phenomenal. These teams are going neck and neck. Gold doesn't matter. 3K feels like 0K as Wesleyan Titan Shield are battling every single step of the way.
I mean, Waterloo had a 7K gold lead at one point, Orbital. So it's really not about the gold. When your compositions are this squishy, I kind of hesitate to say that because Sharkive and Regretful Angel are pseudo-tanky. But for the most part, they're not real tanks. And when everybody is this squishy, the gold doesn't matter. You just need enough gold to kill a person. And you're good to go. It's coming down, I think, a lot more to macro and vision control. That's why these picks are happening, because of vision control. Fable getting caught, has flash available, doesn't even need it. And that arrow, again, it's so close from Scrim. Those are really good arrows. If they land, it's a kill. They're just missing ever so slightly.
And I love the fact that they know that they can go for it as well, right? They are actively looking for that chance. They know that they're the ones slightly in control right now, but Sharkhive taking a duel here, but really losing out here. Regretful Angel's having a blast and is not going to dodge out on the full power Q. Because of that, you do get swamped. That's going to be a 1v1 win. Sharkhive on a killing spree now on the top side. It feels like Waterloo Warriors might have bitten off a bit more than they can chew. Fable able to dodge out on that laser, and the chop comes down from Fright. It is a 2-0 victory across the map for Wesleyan. They went out heavily here in the mid game.
Yeah, for all that the early game went the way of Waterloo, they've been struggling to close out, and overall it's now an issue. Illinois Wesleyan are fully online, led by their captain in Fable, and in Fright, who is their main bait carry in this game right now. They are slowly clawing their way back in, and it kind of doesn't really get too much better for them. Cho'Gath, Feast plus Fable, Smite here, that should be able to secure them objectives. Now Waterloo will struggle to sneak objectives. Either you got to do it in such a way that Illinois Wesleyan have no clue, or you need to win a fight first. You're not going to win that Smite fight. And in the side lane, the split push, Regretful Angel's early lead has worn out. We saw Sharkhive, and even you thought Sharkhive was going to win for a second. Oh, was going to lose for a second, pardon me. But that's a Darius. There's a lot of burst damage there. And again, Camille ain't actually that tanky with all the Emerald stacks stacking up. She will bleed out. It just takes a little bit more time than the initial fight there. So early burst looks great for Camille. Later on, it's always going to favor that Darius.
That Darius is now a powerhouse. And again, Sharkhive, I apologize for ever disrespecting that champion. Being absolutely disrespectful and doing it once again. Int overflow, about to int away, unfortunately. That one hurts, and that's a big source of damage that just went down. Andy Taco able to get some revenge for the earlier games, and that does mean a Baron conceded. Waterloo Warriors can't even get a chance to contest.
And it's not even for these teams right now. Waterloo needs to find major kills, at least 2 kills, and one has to be in one of the carries, either Fright or Handy Taco. Illinois Wesleyan find one pick and they just go for the objective. They're stronger, they know it, they've got higher secure potential, as we mentioned, with that Feast. Now Dragon coming up as well here.
A TP?
They're trying to answer bot side, and then they're just betting that Senpai Cheese can take this. They don't actually have the vision to take this, and they're going to get collapsed on in the bot lane.
Yeah, they're getting collapsed on. The Dragon Soul taken. It looks like a massive win for Wesleyan Titan's Shield. They're going to get all the kills. They get the objective and then some and lose no one. It will be... Well, okay, I lied. They are going to lose a few people, and it looks like the Dragonfly also goes away. Handy Taco is able to flash away, keeps all the stuffing inside. But it's still a 2 for 2 and Dragon taken, so now Wesleyan Titan's Shield are on Soul Point.
Well, we knew it was going to be a good series. But even in game 1, they are delivering here. Illinois Wesleyan, they played that as we expected. They got the Dragon. They secured that as they should. And they collapsed in. They punished that push out from Regretful Angel and Plex. But the fact that Waterloo found 2 kills on the back end of it, that's massive. They are still in it. They are still scrapping. And this game really can go either way. We've not seen a decisive team fight win from either team in the last 10 minutes here. And until I see 5 dead bodies on one side and 5 living on the other, I think they can hold. These teams can probably still hold, can probably still find kills. Everybody, we said in the pregame, they're carries in every single role. And that's true for both these teams right now.
I love, RMC, that you pointed out that we haven't seen a full team fight. We haven't seen these teams really stack up against each other. And that brings up a point that we have not touched on for a while. Plex. Plex has had an interesting time. Early game getting shut out by the Cho'Gath quite quickly. The solo kills in the, under the tower and everything of the sort. It was a problem. But at this point, currently has 3 items, is about to get Rabadons as well, but has not had an opportunity to use it. The last few fights have really been spontaneous, have been kind of in that moment. And Plex has not had a chance to really be able to use a lot of that Aurelion Soul power. I gotta agree. Until we see that team fight go down, and until I personally see Plex in the fight, I don't think Waterloo are completely out of it just yet. However, Regretful Angel definitely regretted going over that wall, immediately realized there was a problem, and dipped the heck out of there.
Regretful Angel doesn't have flash. If he has flash, I'm fine with him pushing out that far between the
Yeah.
hook shot and the flash. You can cover a lot of distance. But yeah, thankfully recognized very quickly that, hey, I think somebody's nearby. I think actually wards were getting cleared by Illinois Wesleyan there, and so it's just like, okay, if there are people nearby, I don't want to be here. However, Roberto, I disagree with your statement about Plex there. I think Plex has been in fights, and I think Plex is actually one of the major reasons why Waterloo have been as close as they have been in a lot of these fights here, especially that Oren Soul Ultimate, the Sky Descends. The knock-up has been massive and instrumental in stopping Illinois Wesleyan from getting their full burst off immediately. It might not matter as Ruthless gets caught. That's a pick. Can they find anything, though? There are no objectives for them to go for, and I feel like a hard push into a lane is not in their best interests.
No, and I take it back. I agree, right? 6, 7, and 6 has definitely been a part of those mid-game fights. So maybe I'm just crazy, but I want to see that burn come down, right? I want to see that 5-man stun. I want to see the craziness, but agree, this is going to be a problem. Plex. Plex, this is, it's now another stun, though. This is Sharkai realizing that this might be a problem. Look at the stall out. It's just... That's the other side of a Darius. As much as we say Darius is quite strong and is able to do a Regretful Angel, you can't deal with 2 kiters that are going to slow you forever without summoner spells.
Without that ghost or flash up, Ash just kites Darius for days. It's not a fun time. Senpai Cheese, I think he got spotted going in, but Fright's getting kind of tanky. No real tank items. You've got a Demonic Embrace at best here, but look at that health bar. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000+ on this AP Cho'Gath already? Real tanky, pardon me. I don't know if Regretful...
Well...
Okay, I know, right? Okay, Divine Thunder does a lot. I was like, I don't know if Regretful actually wants this, but no, he's good. he does.
Yeah, the HP is great, but when you have one item that negates most of that, you're just like, all right, that's kind of fair. Yeah. This is why I always say, I don't know. I've always had a personal grudge against people that call a lot of HP tank. It's just like, it feels like right now in League, there are a decent set of items to cut through HP tanks. So I like to see the armor magic resist stacked in there as well, or else that happens, right? Fright's like, bruh, that was not cool, Angel. And with this dragon coming up, this is a big one right now for Waterloo Warriors. It's do or die time. We said we wanted a team fight, RMC. We just might get it.
Soul point for Illinois Wesleyan right here. They take this, they get Soul, and Chemtech Soul is really useful in extended fights. Granted, the fights haven't been terribly extended, but every little bit helps. The poke already landing from Waterloo here, but they don't have Fission. Fable.
Fable's going in to try and disperse that team fight, and that's going to be the AoE going down, but in the backline, Senpai's going to try and hold him off, but it only does minute work. Sharkive is still able to get away. Final Spark doesn't get any kills. And Waterloo lose out. So well done by Fable and the rest of the Titan Shield squad. It's going to be a sense out of re-engage, and they do get it. They get the double knockup, but Fright again is in the front line, and all you have is HP. That's going to be a lockup with the Hex that goes behind him, and they get the kill. And now it's going to be a fight back off on the side. Sharkive is getting chased away. Regretful Angel wants to keep going forward and has to go into stasis. Doesn't have GA just yet, and they're going to burn away. Fable with the clone is going to survive, and Handy Taco walks up a little bit too close forward. Handy Taco, that should be enough. That Gale Force ain't going to do enough. And they save off Dragon after losing their jungler, after losing their mid. Waterloo Warriors win the fight and Dragon.
And that was just straight holding their nerves there. Waterloo were playing on the edge of a knife, but they win the gamble there. They win out the hands check between the two teams. Illinois Wesleyan, you saw them win out the initial fight. So where did it all go wrong? Well, it went wrong when Fright flashed in, tried to find extras, tried to make things happen again, find more follow-up kills. Sharkive going for that flank again, this time without that flash, without that ghost available, and just could not get in with all that CC. It's not just Scrim either. Plexus Rylai's is doing work. Waterloo, they recognize that, hey, we need to make something happen, but I don't know if this is the call.
Oh, well, that's a body block, and then the AoE, and then the damage, they follow through. You'll pay your Lux. 4-2, Fright comes in and tries to get to the backline, is going to find one, but still falls. It's now at 4-4-2, coming in, Ruthless. You might be Roots on. It's a double kill. Make it a triple for Regretful in a fight of the ages. Waterloo Warrior win 2 team fights, don't even need Baron, and are going to try and crack the inhibitor.
Back to back. That was absolutely massive for Waterloo there. And the Baron bait, I got really worried for them. That was really dangerous, but they recognize that we don't care about the Baron. This is just to pull them in. We turn as soon as they show up. They get the inhibitor. They can keep pushing. The death timers are really long here. 20 seconds in every except for Fable. And Taco is so squishy. Under turret is not safe for him.
They're going to try as hard as they can to get the knockup. No knockup. Senpai Cheese doesn't get it. Because of that, you stepped too far. You now lose your member. This is what I was worried about. I didn't know if they wanted a chance because Handy Taco, for all the fighting that's go on, still had 8 kills. Now has 9. 4.5 items. And might be able to chase, but the HP damage is doing so much work. That's going to be a jump forward. Gale Force almost gets the root. But Handy Taco said, don't worry about it too much. So they do crack the inhibitor. But now leave Baron exposed with 35 seconds left on Senpai Cheese.
Wesleyan, they recognize it too. They're making a straight beeline before those supers start pushing up the mid lane here. Waterloo, they've got everybody except Senpai Cheese, so no smite available, but all the poke, all the dissuasion is still on the table. Plus, coming out of base right now, let's see how quickly this Baron burns.
I mean, listen, we've seen some crazy stuff happen here before. We know even with the jungler down, they can at least lead in some poke, but last time it was without some of those tankier members, without those crazy numbers, and my gosh, that was actually kind of scary. Fright, I think, misjudged the feast, and the laser, if it were half a second faster, would have been able to get a still, but it is not going to be it. Wesleyan Titan Shield are bearing down the gun of a crazy Baron. This could be a stall or a push Baron for them, depending on how well the next few minutes play out.
So most likely this one's going to have to be a stall Baron for Titan Shield here. Their mid inhibitor is already down. Supers are pushing up. And even worse for them is that they have lost the last 2 team fights back to back as well. So they kind of need to reset a little bit on this play. If they overextend, we've seen the picks come through really well from Waterloo, especially from Scrim and Overflow there. So Illinois Wesleyan need to group up and push together, and that's going to be very difficult. So I expect them to just kind of wait for their inhibs to respawn. Both teams kind of handshake a little bit until Dragon comes up. Because once again, Soul Point, but this time for both of these teams, in 2 minutes their Baron buff will also have worn out by that time.
Oh man, this is a tense moment. As you said, next Dragon in a minute and a half, and teams just kind of figuring out exactly what they want to do. And I'm really keeping eyes on Plex now with all this farming without having to use his ulti. He's going to be a menace, right? That ulti is going to do so much work later. We were talking about dropping a solar system anywhere, and Plex can do that on a dime here. Take a look at the mini-map, though. Lux off on their own, just trying to get information, whereas 3 are now pushing on the top side. So Waterloo going to try and get this tower. It's only Shark Eye, though. It'll stave off a fight, and because of that, the tower does fall. Baron will stop the wave from pushing any further, but it's at least a little extra gold. Minute left before Dragon.
And the Shield did not actually defend their base properly there. They didn't push out the lanes. They're trying to get vision around Dragon instead. They are highly prioritizing that. They've successfully done that. Now, in order for this to be worth your orbital, Illinois Wesleyan need to find a pick onto Waterloo on this play. And part of me just feels like Waterloo should just say, forget the soul. Hard shove top and look to actually break that base open if you can do it fast enough. There's only one Nexus turret still standing for Illinois Wesleyan here. Don't forget, the other one already went down.
Oh, well, right now they were kind of thinking about it, but after burning that cleanse out of Handy Taco, they're like, nah, we're going to look at this one. Fright, trying to be a menace. As Senpai Cheese, again, not really having that GA built, still going for a bit of magic resist. That leaves everyone ready to go. This is going to be it. Now the death timers are massive, and the ward has been cleared. RMC, this could be the final fight of this game.
If Waterloo wins, it definitely will be. And a lot of it, I'm looking at Shark Eye and Fright. How do they actually get into this fight here? If they can get in, we've seen them win it before. They kite it out.
It's very, very low. It's going to be taken away by the Ash. Scrim gets it, and that might just be the nail in the coffin. Look at the HP win. Look at Senpai Cheese chasing for the split. Kills everyone on the Titan Shield squad is dead. Shark Eye, you ain't going to be able to survive this one. Handy Taco is run down, and it's a triple kill for Plex, and ace for Waterloo Warriors.
All right, I know you've been watching that Aurelion Sol all game. You know, you're saying, when's Plex going to pop off? Well, right here. Right here, 9, 8, and 11. This Aurelion Sol completely, utterly online. And Waterloo, my goodness, they win at Orbital, but it's not an easy win. A 42, almost 43-minute game to start this series between the Titans at the top.
76, Max Dragons, 2 Barons,
Yep.
and the side lanes were still freaking up on the other side. There was no other tower. It was just straight up mid. Just like, listen, we don't have a whole lot going here, and we're not going to waste any other time. It was phenomenal. That was a ridiculous game, and the only one that I personally would expect out of 2 3-0 teams, 6-0 teams, if you're counting by games, and now it is 7-1 versus 7-0 versus 6-1. My brain does not want to work once again because that game was bonkers. RMC, what are we going to look at in game number 2? Are we going to see more of the shenanigans? Are we going to see even more crazy action from start to finish?
Yeah, well, I'm expecting to definitely see continued close games in this series, Orbital, because like we said, both teams kind of went at it. And Waterloo won, but it wasn't as if Waterloo was utterly dominant, right? One single fight, and Illinois Wesleyan could have potentially turned that game on its head as well. Now, I do expect a bit of a change coming through from Illinois Wesleyan. I think in draft, we saw that they drafted counters. They drafted things that were expected to win out in the laning phase, and then maybe not transition quite as well towards the late game. Hence why we saw late game, Waterloo kind of came back in with their cutting back composition here. I think going to game 2, Titan Shield might look to have a more cohesive team composition so that if they fall behind in lane, if they don't get the leads they expect it to be able to generate, they can still come back in. A bit more scaling to come through as well would probably be good for them. That, or, hey, if Samira's in bad, it's not that Samira.
If Samir's left open, that's gonna be a gutsy call on the other side. That is like, listen, we won game 1. We're gonna do a bit of an ego check, and that's all I could really ask for. I want to see more of the blood and gore. 76 kills. I expect us to break 100 over this other game. I expect this series to be bloody as all heck. So please do not go anywhere. Game number 2 between Illinois Wesleyan and Waterloo. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're ready to go with game number 2, and my gosh, if we don't get another bloodbath, it is not going to be fun. I mean, Waterloo fought the entire freaking time from start to finish. So did Illinois Wesleyan Titans, because, I mean, the shield at that point was not really a shield. It's like the spiky thorns that poked into you and just slaughter you every time you touch it, whatever you want to say. But, I mean, there were so many amazing moments, and there is one standout on Wesleyan's side that made me terribly scared.
Well, brother, you care to name who made you terribly scared there?
Listen, I don't even want to say his name.
So, for those of you who don't know, that beautiful specimen of man on your screen is Fright from Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield here. He probably the guy who made you scared, Orbital. That Cho'Gath was terrifying me as well. And I felt like that Cho'Gath was the one bright spot for Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield throughout the mid game, or throughout the early game, pardon me, which carried them into that mid, into that late, where everybody else could start to come online. And that man, when I said he was jacked, I'm not kidding. Look at the biceps on that man. Those are shoulders, arms that will carry a team. And going into game 2 here, Orbital, he's got to carry them because it's really close. You just need that extra little push to push them over the edge.
It was ridiculous. And again, having 76 kills, it's a lot for a number of different reasons. Usually it's a lot more lopsided. Those are like numbers that you usually see in an ARAM. You're like, okay, that's like an ARAM score, right? 76 kills in, 30 minutes or something like that. You're hitting like 100 or whatever. It's crazy to me. And to see that in a regular game with these teams moving at such a fast pace, and yet they were accurately figuring each other out, it feels chaotic. It feels so crazy, and yet these teams knew exactly where to move. They were always trying to match, and it really did feel like it came down to a hand check because those objectives people were setting up for it, they were making waves every single time.
That's what you can expect from two top teams who have prepped to go head-to-head. It felt like a game of chess, of speed chess, going back and forth. Now, going into game 2, right from the get-go, we are seeing some changes come through. Illinois Wesleyan opting for the blue side, and I really like that because I think that first pick, Aurelian Soul, ultimately became a problem. Did the most damage that game, Plex did, despite the rough early game. So on the red side now, Waterloo have to ban it. They can't give it away to Fright.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So I do want to point out our logos on the bottom side are wrong. It should be flipped. But I know it looked like it was the same because we had a Darius and Wukong locked in on the red side again. So that is the best thing in the world there. But the Scion for Shark Eye, so a sharp swap up. A very, very sharp swap up from what was going on last game. And then Fright as well, another change. The Vigar. I was so excited. I get to see a Vigar. I'm so happy.
Okay, I love that too. I mean, Vigar, you can't see it from his portrait art, but he's really jacked too. So it's a perfect pick for Fright here to carry games. The longer the game goes on, and that's something we talked about in game 1, saying that, hey, Illinois Wesleyan needs some late game insurance here. They need some skill, and they've got it now with not just the Vigar, this Sivir. And I feel like this to me is the Illinois Wesleyan sort of comfort where they put Shark Eye on something that a bit more low econ, and you can focus your mid and bot lane. Granted, Samira, Sivir, very different champions, but we did see Handy Taco towards the late game have really good positioning in team fights, so I like the idea here. I just hope they haven't gone too far into late game and they can actually bridge their way into Sid late game.
Of course, and I mean, Ruthless also getting a very comfortable champion. She's on that Jenna, which is one that we were talking about before. A very, very comfortable champion, one of the top played for her. Being able to use that champion and also give a little breathing room, right? If we're watching that Wukong Darius get on top of your team, you can kind of monsoon him out, give him a little bit of extra agency, and that Sivir a bit more time to roam out. So I am liking what they did. But of course, we get to talk about that Heimerdinger on the other side. I'm excited once again. We are getting so many different styles, or at least different champions coming out for this, for Waterloo's side.
Yeah, and I will add as well, since you mentioned about Ruthless, all of her games except 2 have been played on that Janna here. So definitely going back to comfort for the disengage. And you look over at what Waterloo had drafted as well, taking that Wukong, that Darius away. I think Janna is going to be very effective against the engage that comes out from them. They had Victor in the mid lane, a shorter range mid laner, short to mid range as well. So having the ability to kind of disengage will force them to have to play around that baby cage, that event horizon from the Vigar again. I really like that support. Waterloo's draft still feels like a decently strong teamfight draft, really strong laning. The scaling on this composition, perhaps a little bit weaker. Yes, they have the Victor, but when you compare an Ashe to a Sivir, I think Sivir is highly favored in terms of damage output later on. So it feels like Waterloo, they've got to accelerate the pace of the game, go to those side lanes. Ashe Heimer, really strong poke lane. They can get people low, and then your Wukong can go and burst them. Top side with the Darius, we didn't quite get to see Sharkive take over the lane. It was the way that Darius is meant to. But in this matchup against the Sion, it should be much easier for Regretful Angel to be able to dominate that lane, and Wukong will only speed things up.
It feels like a little bit of Waterloo's plan was again to kind of break down or, get a little bit of the mental game in there. You don't pick the opponent's champions from game 1 in game 2 for no reason, unless it's one of those highly contested picks. I know Wukong's up there. I know Darius is too, but getting both of them at the same time just feels like a little bit of a slap, right? Like a little bit of a glove in the face. So I do like to see it. But I'm very, very excited to see what these two teams can do because, again, game 1 was bloody. Game 2, as you said, bot lane is going to have some spice to it if that Wukong so decides. And Waterloo will be looking to push the envelope. RMC, if you saw a perfect start to Waterloo, what would it be? Where would those pieces fall into place? Where would those stepping stones start? From the bot lane, mid lane, top lane? Where would it come from?
So, perfect early game from Waterloo would see them shutting Fable down for Illinois Wesleyan. Because we talked about the bridge for Illinois Wesleyan. Right now, the way the teams are going to operate are very, very different. Last game, we had very heavy, strong focus on laning, and early game, like we kind of said, it's game 1, they're filling each other out. This game, Illinois Wesleyan just want to get to the late game. They are a time bomb waiting to explode. The later it goes, the worse it's going to get here. So Waterloo need to shut that down. You can't stop time, but what you can do is attack the one sort of early game champion they have there in that Udyr. If Fable falls behind, all their lanes are liable to struggle. So I think Waterloo, ideally, target the jungle, and their lanes are already strong enough. They should be winning out on their own.
I'm excited to see that, right? Pushing up the lanes, trying to help out in the jungle, making sure that they're available to help out in those invade rotations. Again, these two teams, they can play at a much faster pace. That entire game, it did not feel... What's crazy is it didn't feel like a 30 to 35 minute game. It just was action the entire time. So we expect that pace to happen once again. And Fable better be on the... on the lookout, right? Better set up some sentry posts in the jungle, in the river, and just be like, yo, please keep eyes for a random Wukong or a random Darius to invade in. For the side of Illinois Wesleyan, then, how do they combat that? What are they going to look at? Because, again, these laners are not exactly the most efficient at holding a steady lane. Where do they go if they want to help the Udyr out?
I think it's a lot about pushing your lanes as hard as you can. I think Sivir will actually be mostly fine in that bot lane. They just need to survive the poke from Ashe Heimer. That's really the only thing there. Sivir is very effective at pushing waves as well, especially once you get a couple of items under her belt. Not even the full mythic, just the Noon Quiver is often sufficient for you to be able to match shove into that lane. And depending on how the turrets are placed by Overflow here, your bouncing boomerangs can even hit some of those turrets sometimes and actually take them down. The big issue for me is actually going to be the solo lanes, Sharkive and Fright. Veigar did get a buff on this patch, so a bit more range, ability to trade a bit better with Victor. But as the Veigar, if you ever push out against that Wukong, you're kind of in dangerous territory there. Wukong is fast enough often that you'll get through before your Event Horizon comes up. If he cyclones you, he can hold you there till it drops. And the top lane, normally Sion's a great independent, strong, undead corpse in top side that don't need no jungler. But not against Darius, because Darius can really bully you out. He can interrupt the smash there, the knock up, which does need to be charged up as well. So Fable needs to cover those two lanes for the most part. For Sharkive, if you can sit under turret, that would be ideal, because that's the one place where Darius can't really bully you out quite as much.
Solo lanes on the side of Illinois Wesleyan gotta step up here a little bit. Gotta make sure that they're in proper form and ready to help the Udyr out, or the Udyr is just gonna go ham, because that is another thing that can happen. We talked about it. The Titan Shield squad can be very, very impressive, and again, it was just a few team fights that separated them out, and it could have gone either way. So we'll see what they can do here in game number 2. All eyes are open as the Grass Stomper will be on for Fable and Senpai Cheese. And we get to hear some very, very fun pings. Looks like we're going to get a 5-point setup from both teams. No one wants to be too aggressive, and I mean, who really has a lot of that lockdown? No one wants to run into a Scion with a fully charged Q. But Regretful Angel and Senpai Cheese Might be looking to be annoying to a slight extent. Handy Taco,
Oh.
though.
Okay, I got worried for Taco for a second. I was wondering if Handy Taco was shopping or something, because you saw Scrim and Overflow run around that corner. You need to be backing off right there. Senpai Cheese, though. This is the one I want to look at, because let's not forget that even though Senpai Cheese struggled in the early game last game, he was the one who actually went invading early on as well. So I wonder if we see that again. He has gone back to base, picked up a sweepers here, and is he going to go back to the top side? Doesn't look... Oh, no, he's going to go for Raptor start, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be real happy about that, and very content. I wouldn't say happy, right? But again, it's also not that level 2 cheese. We won't see that same explosive start that we saw from game number 1. We aren't gonna see Scrim and Int Overflow have a double flash advantage over Handy Taco and Ruthless. Instead, it is going to feel a little bit more neutral, as both junglers are also starting on the same side. So blue buff for Fable, red buff for Senpai Cheese. And it feels like, as much as I wanted blood, we might just have a very calm, understanding early game.
Yeah, and again, for Illinois Wesleyan, that's exactly what they want to have happen here. Ignore the icons at the top. Again, it should be Waterloo on the red side this game, Illinois Wesleyan on the blue side here. If it's calm, if it's quiet early, that's great for them. And hey, maybe Waterloo's okay with that till level 6 as well. With the Wukongs, yes, he's got some early ganks, but power farming till level 6 is viable as well. The Cyclone for Wukong really unlocks a lot more CC potential on these ganks.
It's been a while since I've seen this type of aggression in the bot side, but Int Overflow and Scrim are doing it quite well. Regretful Angel hitting level 2 early as well, saying, you know what, Shark Hive, you're going to have to face the music. And with that, we are in that situation that we had discussed earlier. All lanes currently shoved for the side of Waterloo Warriors. They are enjoying this kind of pressure that they get to lay down. Outside of Plex, who hitting level 3 said, I'm going to send a few lasers, get Fright to chug a few potions and eat a few biscuits. You know, the milk and cookies combo is just perfect. But it is, as we said, a little bit of a standard setup here. Scrim, though. Scrim, buddy. They're having fun.
I mean, it's fine. Even though Scrim did get knocked up, took a lot of damage, the poke from the Heimer and Ashe are still good. Is still landing. And we touched on the fact that topside, it is good for Shark Hive to be under turret. I want to highlight that for bot lane, that's actually not the case. Heimer and Ashe have a lot of range on their poke here. So if you're stuck at a turret without a minion wave in front of you, you end up eating a lot of poke. Even with the spell shield from Sivir, it's still a bit of an issue. It heals your health now, and I don't believe it gives you mana anymore. So you can actually run out of mana as Sivir if you're constantly spamming that shield.
Yep, it's only in that healing range, and because of that, we are taking a look as the junglers are meeting on that bot side, but as that fight had already gone on and Fable had conceded that predetermined situation, Senpai Cheese and Int Overflow will secure the scuttle. And now take a little bit of a look in mid lane. Fright has no mana, flashes against the wall, but is still stunned up. Now double stunned and is dead. First blood to Senpai Cheese.
That was a beautiful gravity field. They're trying to answer topside onto Regretful Angel, but I thought we've seen this before with Darius's.
Oh, yeah, we definitely seen it before. That'll be the 1-for-1. Regretful Angel will fall, but on the bot side, we see another kill go down as well. So, you know, for all the craziness, it is going to be a 2-for-2 overall. That was Scrim that had fallen.
Oh, Handy Taco just running up, eating the Ignite there. I got kind of worried, but was fine. The healing from the pots, the biscuits, everything was enough. And great play from Handy Taco and Ruthless as well to recognize that, hey, Overflow isn't here. We can go and just find the kill. Now Overflow is there. Still in a 2v1 situation. Has to be very careful. Mid lane.
Oh, Plex. Plex is going to survive, but I still feel that's a situation that you could have staved off. You know, may have overstayed a little bit. Top lane, though, massive wave. And now Scrim is just going ahead with the Ghost. Took Flash Ghost this time around and said, I'm going to be all up in your face. Ruthless getting shoved out of tower. You know what? We said it was going to be quiet for Illinois Wesleyan's sake, but Waterloo say we don't want to allow you to do so. Oh, Shark Hive. Sad days.
It's fine. Shark Hive was just testing his luck. The minion wave's pushed up anyways. He can't do anything. If he had gotten it, though, that would have been funny. No, not the end of the world, but still amusing. Every little bit you can slow down Senpai Cheese is a good thing for your team there. Yeah, so as you rightly pointed out, Waterloo are looking to make tracks happen here. What I particularly appreciate was that gank into the mid lane. The way Overflow and Senpai Cheese, they just secure Scuttle. Keep on going, right? Why not? You need to make things happen. And Senpai Cheese has gotten his early ganks in, is almost level 6 as well. And that Gravity Field from Plex was beautifully placed. I want to see more of this jungle mid synergy to come through, especially once you get that Cyclone. That Gravity Field is so much easier to land.
And once you control that mid lane, you get to control the sides as well. This is going to be a Hextech Dragon first here, which, you know, an extra bit of attack speed and ability haste is not the worst thing in the world. But if they want to go for it, they will have to fully control. As you can see, Fable was kind of thinking the same thing as us. Hey, we got to kind of control this mid lane. Without Flash on Plex, you do get the damage down. Fright saying, hey, I can do the same. I can call for my jungler just as well.
Only problem being, the junglers are not made equal right now. Fable is better at dueling, but you saw what happens when he wants to do something. He runs at you, Gravity Field comes down, it just buys so much space for Plex to get away. And even the last fight too, Plex held Flash so long because he knew that, hey, if I flash, there's nothing you can do. But maybe I can walk it out. I can definitely try my luck and see what happens here. Now, Flash is down. Plex is completely out of mana. And so, despite the fact that Waterloo just secured Scuttle on that bot side, Illinois Wesleyan, if they want to go for Dragon, they could probably force it and win out 3v3, 4v4 that might happen.
I'm looking for a 2v3 on the bot side. This is going to be the chase in Fable saying, hey, you don't have any summoner spells, so Scrim, you are an open book. The slow is going to go down, the exhaust as well, and this is textbook gank material. 2 kills in the bot side. Stun's only going to be there to slow them down. Senpai Cheese, though, wants to get a chance. Remember, no level 6 by Ruthless, so should be a flash, and another knockup comes in, and you get the kill. The question is, can you get out alive? Because Andy Taco and Fable want to keep fighting, but Senpai Cheese does have the Conqueror stack going. The burn, though, will be enough. Fable on a killing spree.
the slowdown there was massive. Top side, Regretful Angel actually burning the Ghost there, trading it for the charge, the ultimate away from Scion here. And Regretful Angel hasn't actually amassed as big a lead as I would have expected here, considering their performance in Game 1 on that meal. Only up about 10 CS right now, and that's roughly actually going to be about 6 CS, because the wave is now pushing into Shark Eye here. And so it feels like for Waterloo right now, they don't have as big a lead as I'd like. They're actually down gold at this point, and Illinois Wesleyan doing a great job holding this early game. If they can continue this pace, they can accelerate their Sivir, their Fygar coming online as well.
I'm also trying to figure out where exactly that gold lead is coming from, right? Like, that is 900 gold that we're just like, hey, where did it really come from? So it might be from those kills, those 2 extra kills that they gotten, but like everything else is dead even. And so this dragon will help the side of Waterloo get back into this again. Extra damage is always nice, or an extra chance to get some extra damage down is nice. Mountain Dragon will be second on the table. And this time around, Waterloo are hoping to not split the early 2 dragons.
And Illinois Wesleyan, they're perfectly fine giving up that first drag here. Ideally, I'd like to see them go for Herald to try and at least trade 1 for 1. And I think the gold would actually be more valuable to Illinois Wesleyan here than these first 2 early dragons. If anything, I think the game plan was to say, hey, we're not going to contest these 2 anyways. Give them up. The fact that we're even discussing contesting it comes from Ruthless and Handy Taco having such a good laning phase, and the fact that they're actually winning out against Scrim and into Overflow a little bit here kind of gives us that false hope. But that hope is bait, and it's probably better for them to just play it a bit safer here. You don't have to contest early. Scaling is still the name of the game for them.
Scaling will never not be the name of the game, I guess is the best way we should put it, right? For the side of Illinois Wesleyan, they're just like, we will scale forever. And technically that is true on the side of Fright, but even for the Sivir, we were talking about that extra damage into Overflow, ate that boomerang to the face of the pizza. If you will, pepperoni always tastes so good. It's painful when it's thrown at your face, though, so he's going to go ahead and recall, and Fable's just going to do a little bit of a drive-by saying, hello, hi, how are you? While Scrim sits under the tower now.
I don't know. I feel like if a pizza hits your face and it's really painful, you're probably buying pizza at the wrong pizza joint. Okay, I will say that I also like stuffed crust and thin crust. So,
okay.
Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's my choice of pizza.
Hurts. It's like a frisbee hits your face. Let's be honest here.
Thin crust? No.
Yeah. It's like kind of hard, right? It kind of hurts, and I mean, if you eat the whole thing, it's just like, dang, that sucked.
Well, okay. Oh no, we're friends, but one day I need to take you out for some good thin crust pizza, man. It should not be hard. If anything, you shouldn't even notice it. We're seeing a lot of zone control come out. None of the stunts landing, though.
Yeah, enough about my bad pizza habits. Someone's going to clip that and yell at me. That's going to be a flash out of flash. Plex is going to be taken low as well, but both mid laners lose those summoner spells as the objectives are going to have some fun. Oh, the ping. The arrow landed, by the way. Oh my gosh. Fright said, oh my gosh, that's so close. Scrim goes, man, just a little bit of extra damage. Right now, Shark-Eye, though, eating most of this top lane. Fright and...
Senpai Cheese?
Yeah, Senpai Cheese wanted to take a look at that one, but... I mean, now that the Scion is directly under tower, I don't think you're going to take a chance. Fable as well, saying, this is my jungle. Maybe I can do some work. Cyclone, though, is going to do enough work. The slow is not really going to land, and Fable is out. So although it is the Titan Shield that lose out a little bit, they don't lose their lives, which is more than appropriate.
I feel like it's interesting considering how the early game kind of went a little bit, and we were saying that, oh, you know, Wesleyan are actually looking pretty good for the most part. That we're kind of seeing a bit of a turnaround. Fright actually rotating up here.
Oh. And Fright realizing that they found a little bit more than they can chew, but Fable is ready to go as well, so it's going to be a technical 3v4.
Plex TP'd.
As Plex TP'd in as well into Overflow, trying to bait him for the rest of the team. Shark-Eye was able to get the kill, but guess what? It's still a trade of 1-for-1, and Regretful now has plenty to work with. A little bit of AoE goes down. The Stasis Field isn't going to land on Shark-Eye, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Junglers deliver their lives.
I think Illinois Wesleyan are actually really happy with that particular trade sequence because, as you said, it's a 4v3. They get 1-for-1. And it feels like every time Overflow leaves the bot lane, Scrim gets absolutely punished for it. We're seeing the turret take so much damage here. Scrim not able to properly defend it. And more importantly, too, Regretful Angel had to go base. Completely out of mana, wasn't very healthy. Shark-Eye, just TP'd back to lane, is fine to keep on pushing. So on that series of plays, Illinois Wesleyan, they come out ahead in both the side lanes.
Very nice reprieve here for themselves, and with Dragon coming up as well, it's something that they sorely needed. Int Overflow back in the bot lane and is ready to be an annoyance and actually using the ulti as well. Something that they could have used a while ago. Didn't want to drop it instead. Scrim now going to get the Monsoon against, and Fable gets the routes. What a massive overstep. Int Overflow and Scrim lose their lives.
Man, this is why Ruthless plays so much Janna, and this is why we were happy to see her pick it there. She knows the limits of the champions. That was a perfect Monsoon to knock Scrim back and stop the engage coming through Illinois Wesleyan. Their bot side's getting incredibly fed, and we said 2 win cons, right? Handy Taco, now 3-0-3.
Listen, Illinois Wesleyan said, listen, if I can't have a perfect record, no one's going to have a perfect record. We're going to try and take this game number 2. That's what they said. I love it. Bot lane, you said it earlier, it's fed. It's going to be even more so. First tower goes their way. And the most that Waterloo Warriors will get is an extra 2 plates. They are going to try and go for Dragon. This one would put them at 2, which would fit within their win con. Again, getting those global objectives would be very, very nice. Of course, it is that Janna just trying to be an absolute pain in the butt. Fable's coming around the corner, and Overflow gets knocked up, and the Glacial Augment is going to do enough. Fable, though, gets double stunned into a bit more damage, and that's the Udyr down. So, for how much they lost on the bot side, Waterloo Warriors still looking for extra. Oh,
so good.
Okay.
They just ran past Regretful.
I love it. Shark-Eye said, I want to have some fun. Regretful, though, eats the major damage from the Vigar, and it's still not going to be enough. There we go. Finally, a Q land. And a flash forward. Handy Taco with that Kraken Slayer is going to take another life. And for the price of a dragon, you lose 2 more members. Waterloo Warriors, you know what? At least you got the dragon.
Everything's fun and games, so somebody throws a heart shell taco into your face. Handy Taco incredibly fed right now. Senpai Cheese is looking for this. I don't know about this one. I think Plex might die if they keep trying to chase this.
Yeah, another boomerang comes out. Thankfully, the Cyclone's up, and now you flash over the wall. Senpai Cheese making sure that they earn something for the mid lane aggression. It will be 2 in the favor of the Wukong, though, as Plex was able to get a bit more too. 2-0-2, 150 gold bounty.
Okay. Teams are scaling. Now, Orbital, we had said earlier that the name of the game for Illinois Wesleyan is going to be scaling the entire time. I think we might have found the one sort of exception to the rule. If your Sivir is this fed at this point in the game, I actually think Illinois Wesleyan can start looking to push and fight a little bit earlier here because they are so far ahead. But Handy Taco does need peel. He's really, really strong, but you saw what happened. If there's enough CC and there's nobody to peel for him, can still get bursted down. And Plex, as you mentioned, 2-0-2, is kind of fed as well. And with Plex and Senpai Cheese, 2 burst champions on the side of Waterloo, up and available right now, Handy Taco can't solo carry this game.
Handy Taco is going to take that as a direct challenge from you now. Like, just listen. I heard what this random minion said on the desk. I got to prove him wrong. Agreed, though. The Sivir wants at least a little bit of backup. You can try and take on the world, but you like to know you have a bit of a support system behind you. So 4-1-4, gonna go for that IE next. Is gonna be looking to hit that 2-item power spike soon. Might not even need it. Another Kraken Slayer shot. If you had the flash, you'd probably chase for it. Into overflow. Said, oh, really? Fright picks up a free 6 AP.
Right, flashing in to secure that one. And now I'm worried for Scrim. Because we were talking about Handy Taco facing Plex and Senpai Cheese. We didn't mention Scrim and Int Overflow for a reason. Because Handy Taco's been handling Scrim and Overflow in bot lane this entire time. He's going to be comfortable. And if Ruthless wants to go into that mid lane there, that's diveable territory. They can just go onto Scrim, and Scrim will have to burn Ghost almost immediately.
Oh, Fright's about to get a treatment here. Vigard doesn't have flash, does have heal though. Always keep eyes on that Unleashed spellbook. They're going to go in. This should be enough. Again, walked up and away because you had nowhere else to go. That's a shutdown in the pocket of Senpai Cheese. 4-2-3 right now.
Now for Waterloo to make that equal, they have to take the start because they just lost the mid-outer. And that didn't even require the gank. Fable didn't even show up there. It was just Handy Taco and Ruthless pressuring. And they're about to lose second Herald as well. So Illinois Wesleyan, they're in a position to take all the outer turrets. As a scaling team which should be struggling in the early game, they are set and ready to go. Plex, can he take it?
Maybe. We're gonna watch as the rest of the base falls, as the poor Victor is like, I gotta get something here. That'll be top lane Aggresson even more because they do see that Victor still on the bot side. They're gonna chase with this Shelly. Shelly's gonna take a hit. Gonna be able to get away and regretful. Can't hit that. Is having some trouble here. That eye is still dodging. Oh my gosh, Herald Tech? Is Herald Tech real? All of them are being so annoying, and it is going to be a pain. 2 towers do fall on the other side, but we don't even care about that. Regretful loses it all, is not even going to get a kill, and Shelly is still alive. Shelly chose a side and stuck with it.
Oh, okay. Shelly finally goes down there. Yeah, I mean, considering that Waterloo got the first Herald, it definitely did not do as much as the second Herald there. Somebody paid that Herald. Shelly? What's the name of the second Herald there? I know some people call it Shelly.
Shelly Jr. is what I go with.
Shelly Jr.? Okay. Yeah, definitely the son or daughter definitely outperformed the progenitor, let's say. Let's see what the teams can do here with the burn as well. And Illinois Wesleyan, as you rightly pointed out, did lose the bot lane turret as well as the inner turret. They went to try and punish Handy Taco, but weren't quite able to find the same level of impact. Shark Hive. That was just greedy.
200 HP sitting in the jungle, and a Wukong with the Divine Thunder is just like, yeah, that's free from you. I'll take that one. So you know what?
Yeah, so Senpai Cheese was just farming camps and found a bigger camp than usual. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. Just like a big old meatball. Hey, I'll chomp on that one. So good. So good. 5-2-3 now as well, and with Dragon coming up, this is going to be very important because Shark Hive does have TP, but the ultimates, well, actually, ulti should be up right now. This is going to be a big question because if Waterloo Warriors get this, it is them on Soul Point.
And this is the one that we expected Illinois Wesleyan to start contesting. Third Drake with this skill and composition. And look at the items. Handy Taco, 2 fully completed items as well. Navori Quick Blade picked up, and Scrim's just sitting on a Blade of the Ruin King. Granted, Blade of the Ruin King is one of those legendaries that can replace a Mythic, but a lot of times, especially in team fights, it doesn't hit quite the same as a Mythic, much less when you've got that 2-item power spike coming through Waterloo. I like what they're saying here. They're saying, forget this. We don't want to contest this. We can't contest this here. Just buy space for Plex to do Plex things. He's not the fastest split pusher, but he's getting the job done.
He's actually going to be spotted out even further, but that area... Scrim's like, you're not going to take it for free. I'm going to get at least a little something here. Plex now realizing that this is a bit of a dangerous spot, but is able to sidestep outside of the ensemble onslaught, and Sharkov has a flash over the wall. So Plex says, hey, I have that opportunity, but flashes in, and Plex might have made a mistake. Does get the Chaos Storm now, not the Chaos, that is the Gravity Field. and is going to lose their life because he flies in the wrong area, but set them up nicely for the rest of the team. This is Waterloo Warriors trying to chase forward, but look at that. No, go back to Handy Taco. Thank you. They do go down, but they were able to trade so much more. 3 down on the side of Waterloo Warriors. A fight to save Plex has now turned into slight disaster as Fright is also going to get jumped on. Senpai Cheese is about to be made Swiss cheese as a final blow from Fright takes their life. It is 4 for 3. Waterloo Warriors, they'll bite that bullet.
I don't really know who had the better start of it, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like Shark Eye. First of all, Plex just broke Shark Eye's ankle on that entire play there. Did not need Regretful Angel. And so let's look at Shark Eye. You're not itemized to deal with a mage right now. So going in there, really, really risky. But the response from both of these teams to speed up their collapse, that was admirable. It comes out ahead because I think Handy Taco is ahead. We saw what Handy Taco did, just kited out Regretful Angel the entire fight. And it was the same problem Shark Eye had on the Darius. No flash, no ghost, means that you're not going to be able to get into that. So my eyes orbitals, a lot of it's going to be looking at this Darius for Regretful Angel in these upcoming fights. Can he get into the fight there? If not, it's going to feel like a 4v5.
That's so scary to think, right? Like, that's so scary to think about. You are essentially, if you do not play this properly, your team is down a full member. That's the way on their mind a little bit as well. So we'll see how much longer this can play out. 6-2 and 6 right now on Handy Taco. 22 minutes and counting. They were able to see Crew Dragon as we had talked about before, but the space is starting to open up a bit more. Total of 7 towers taken in their view. And honestly, Baron's on the table next. So for Waterloo and Illinois, they're going to be looking to prep their wards, get themselves spaced out properly, and hopefully keep Plex alive as they're trying to recall to get ready for this objective as well.
Yeah, and with the items that Waterloo has, Baron is actually feasible. Even this early on, they've got the Fluent Kings, they've got a bunch of Divine Thunderers to come through. Problem is, they're going to take a lot of damage, and the debuff is the big thing for them to watch out for, because Baron applies a debuff which lowers your armor and magic resistance every time it spits that vile green ooze at you. And Handy Taco will shred right through you. Handy Taco is now on 3 items. So for Waterloo, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They have to make a play. They're trying to force it here, but where's the follow-up? Senpai Cheese doesn't have follow-up on this team.
Yeah, and realizes that's a problem, so you do eat that damage. Fable is now on the back line, and it is disaster for the side of Waterloo. They even draw, not a TP, but the rest of the team out, and now Plex is caught. If they realize this, they are. Plex is dead as well. We were saying there was an opportunity, but disaster has struck and now turns into a catastrophe. 3 are dead. Handy Taco gets a boomerang, gets another, and might get a triple. Yes, you do. Handy Taco secures their 10th kill of the game with an ace.
Okay, I know I keep talking about Handy Taco Samura, but this Simmer looking real good right now. Maybe less Jin, more hyper carry. And for Waterloo, I fully appreciate why Senpai Cheese did what he did. Granted, he didn't have to follow up, but we're just saying they're damned they do, damned if they don't. The scaling from Illinois Wesleyan is starting to take off here. Fright is starting to come online as well. I don't know how many stacks he has. I'm not sure. I want to check. Handy Taco, can he kite this one out?
Oh. I mean, it looked good for a little bit. Took Senpai Cheese low, but still, the Wukong, you just met the other Fed member on the other side of the rift. And right now, Int Overflow, they're just going to try and body block Shark Eye from being able to use that Unstoppable Onslaught, but it's not even enough. So Int Overflow is eating a lot of damage here. That stun grenade is not actually going to stun, but it's going to slow him down enough, and still Shark Eye is able to walk away. I mean, the HP drain is enough? Are you? No. No way. Really? Really, Shark Eye? Not a single MR item in your pocket, and you walk away from all that. So stupid.
Orbital. The Swifty boots. It actually made the difference. He doesn't have ghosts. He was just walking a little bit faster and tanked it long enough. Now, of course, that does come at a cost here. Handy Taco is still dead. Shark Eye had to go back to base. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. So Waterloo will be able to set up their vision, and it matters double because it's Ocean Drake. There are more bushes than normal. Vision is paramount when you're contesting these objectives.
So scary to think about. And right now, though, Illinois Wesleyan, they feel great. Even though it might be scary, it's not that bad for themselves. They're going to clear out this ward. So no vision. It is almost completely dark here for the side of Waterloo. And they can't fight it. they conceded a while back and say, this dragon is yours. Illinois Wesleyan stacked 2 ocean drags, ones that are going to be very nice for Sharkive.
Okay, and I am still trying to figure out what Waterloo's plan was, because you had the ability to set up for a potential play, and you need to set up for that play. Oh, this is a sit play, Senpai Chi. Okay, they were looking for flank. That's good. There's still 1 minute on Baron buff, though, and this turret's a little bit low, so I don't know if this is the play. This is the hill that Waterloo wants to die on. It doesn't feel very safe.
Doesn't feel safe, isn't safe, and, you know, is much more a problem than a happy little accident because of Grateful Angel. This is, I mean, you're under the tower. There is nothing you can do. Even Int Overflow is trying. They get enough damage, and the Q actually lands, so they take out the Janna, but that's the Janna. Senpai Cheese still can't work here, and is going to get the knockup, but no one is able to follow. Senpai Cheese is going to get run down. Those are the Merc Dreads going to keep you alive for a little bit longer. You flash away. You might have clone up in time, but you're going to get back to the rest of your team. For as much as we were talking about Sharkive, Senpai Cheese just did the same. Int Overflow, though, now stuck ran into that event horizon and dies to Fright, who is now on a killing spree.
I feel like it's not fair to Int Overflow. Int Overflow dodged all the skill shots. I want to highlight that Int Overflow went down to auto attacks from Handy Taco, because he dodged all the other skill shots. You can't dodge autos. Right, Sharkive still pushing here. They're trying to maximize the Baron buff. It just wore off, but they might have overextended. Don't forget, this is Waterloo's base.
It's their base. Even though you've broken most of the base, some of the base, it's still yours. The arrow from downtown is able to land, and Fright will fall to a Victor. And again, the Victor is having a great time scaling up. We did say one of the other scaling factors is that Victor, so we'll see how much it goes for, as well as that shutdown. But meanwhile, while we were talking about, the base has been fully broken now. The mid inhibitor is down for the next about 5 minutes.
Really good call from Abel and Handy Taco there, recognizing that bot side. Scrim. Scrim, 0-5-2, really struggling on this Ashe this game. And you contrast that to his performance in Game 1. TP being called in, both TPs. Senpai again being caught away from his team.
Oh, great spell shield allowing the follow through. And Andy Taco said, I may be on the wrong side of the ramp, but you're on the wrong side of my blade. Takes another kill. Nope, that was Sharkive taking it with the axe. That's so mean. Give another kill to the 12, 3, and 10, please. This is Senpai Cheese, though. This is the monkey biting off a bit more than they can chew. The bullies of the top in jungle meets against the singular jungle play. Senpai Cheese trying to bait out with that clone, is able to get over the wall and out to safety. But my gosh, was it not easy.
Okay, I just want Handy Taco to just turn around right now and cut off this escape. But Handy Taco is actually trying to end the game. Has no support whatsoever, which is kind of dangerous.
The bait of the spell shield brings an end to their life. And hey, you get a little bit more gold in your pocket. The event horizon also doesn't really stop anyone. And so the kills are good. Int Overflow gets another stun. Monsoon is only going to delay the inevitable. And you know what? 3 kills in a base defense, you'll take it. At least your Nexus isn't gone.
True. If you have Waterloo, this is fine. Everything's on fire, but this is fine. You're taking what you can get here. If you're Illinois Wesleyan, I do think it was a little bit greedy, but the fact that they found all those things to me is pretty insane. They got the inhibitor turret bot side, they get the inhibitor mid, they get some kills as well, and top side, they almost take that turret. So it might actually be worth, as weird as it is to say that.
Yeah, you'll take it, but Regretful Angel is going to try and break some ankles once again, and I think they've done it. The healing is just too good. Flash out even from the knockup just cuz. But the chase might be a problem here. Take a look at the rest of the map, though. As again, Senpai Cheese just coming in for moral support. You don't steal this, right? Nah, you don't steal this. Just let the meatballs fight. It's okay. This is
honorable combat of top lane.
Yeah, it was very entertaining to watch. The wave will still be taken, so you know what? Sharkive is okay with that. Get a little extra farm under your belt, because you got to prep for the next objective. Baron in 15 seconds, 45 seconds on Dragon.
Part of me is just wondering, how desperate are you, bro, that you think that was a good fight to watch? Are you one of those people who likes to watch ice melt?
Yes, I actually no, I don't. It's just, you know what? I don't think Sharkive was going to win that anyway, so at least you get the wave, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, that was the slow, painful death, but that's what you picked Darius for. My God, that was just one boomerang blade there, and it half health, Scrim, and Overflow. Baron being started by Waterloo. They know they've got a numbers advantage, but I don't think it matters.
No, they can't do this. Scrim is too low, and they can't step up, so they have to turn and fight. Regretful Angel's off on the side. Remember, doesn't have any summer spells because they're now down. Handy Taco wins the one, and now they get the pinch. They are going to follow up. The Monsoon pushes them all away and gives time for the rest of the team to follow through. But look at that. The stun Plex is going to get more and denies the Quadra. Plex destroys the hopes of Handy Taco and is actually going to turn it around, gets a double kill and a triple. And Plex says, give me that opportunity. No Pensa for Handy Taco. You're just gonna sit at 16, 5, and 10.
Yeah, okay, I know we had that jacked picture of Fright. Can we get a jacked picture of Plex? Because I wanted Fright to carry here, but Plex finding that in that fight, turning the tides, and the moment Taco went down, it was huge.
No.
Plex can kill Shark Eye. This is a question of can he kill him fast enough? Because Shark Eye is going full bounce here.
This cannot be how the game ends. This cannot be. No, this is not how the game ends. Is Shark Eye going to end the game like an absolute Scion Chad? Will this happen? They draw him away. Is he able to get close? No! One more hit. One more hit would have been it. Even that broke our game. It was one hit. Shark Eye just almost shattered everything.
Oh, that was actually really that was so good. I know I'm cackling right now, but macro-wise, that is a brilliant move. And there's a mental aspect to that too, because now Waterloo cannot leave their base, right? Yep. They can't leave their base even. They've got to leave more than one person behind as well. Because Shark Eye, when he respawns, Unstoppable Onslaught is back up already. He can literally run right down mid lane and do the exact same
you can
thing.
see it.
So, yeah.
You can see the pings. You can see the pings.
5 seconds. They know it. So, Waterloo, if you try and contest this Baron, you lose the game, pretty much. Like, you have to have more than one person defending, and you already saw Plex couldn't kill Shark Eye.
So they actually called a TP in and they say, hey, listen, we could try and end, but we're going to go for the safer play. Even I say that. I want to see Shark Eye go for it. He has so much HP, but they're going to body block. This Baron is going to be an opportunity. Scrim gets a great arrow on Ruthless, so this is a pinch of the ADC on the weak side. But they're doing it. Are you kidding me? No way they do this. The cycle comes in. Are Waterloo going to be able to pull this off? They should not be allowed to do this. The sun comes in. Shark Eye is getting bitten and taken quite low. The ulti comes in. They slaughter the Scion. But look on the top side. Handy Taco is chasing down the other ADC. Plex is running away from a very, very tanky member. But look at that. Handy Taco said, I am just that much stronger. But no, you're not. Regretful Angel said, I am a beast in my own right. Can you survive any longer? No, the burn takes it over. And Fright is going to TP to end the game. This is what Shark Eye and you and I thought that they should do. But at the end of the day, with 30 seconds left, 19 on Senpai Cheese, this should be game, right?
It has to be. It's 10 seconds. And by then,
it's
just push in. They are playing for entertainment, and they are not doing my heart a service right now. I am getting heart attacks watching this series here. Illinois Wesleyan. It should never have been in doubt that they were going to win this. Even if they lose Baron there, as long as they didn't get aced and have all 5 members of Waterloo up with Baron, they couldn't lose that. That was not the optimal call, but that was not the safe call. A safe call, run it at the Nexus. Nevertheless, a win's a win, Orbital. And because we only get one series tonight, it's great that we get all 3 games. We've got the time to actually get through all 3 games.
I am loving this so much. It may not have been as bloody. It may not have been, but that late game was pretty dang close. Murders all over the place. The Scion almost ended. Oh, the boss would have been proud. The boss would have been so proud if that Nexus came in. That was... I don't think we're going to be seeing Scion again. There's got to be something done about it. Anyways, it was so good to watch both these teams fight it out. We're waiting for game 3 because I am going crazy. I know RMC is having a heart attack over there. We'll take a few moments to calm down and get ready for the final episode of this series. Welcome back, everyone. We are here, and my gosh, has it been a long journey. Game number 1, a slogfest of a battle. It was 76 kills, almost 35 and longer in terms of how long it took, but Waterloo prevailed. Game 2, though, came about, and we saw Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield come out with a smattering of heart-thumping moments in more ways than one. And now we get a chance for a Game 3 RMC. I couldn't ask for a better way to cap off our series tonight.
Yeah, and the big question here in Orbital going to Game 3 is, of course, who's going to win it? One win apiece here. And despite Game 2 going heavily in Illinois Wesleyan's way, it didn't necessarily have to go that way. They had a skilling comp, and one of the carries actually managed to get that early snowball going, specifically Handy Taco. And Orbital, Game 2, Illinois Wesleyan's bot lane decided the game, right? With that Sivir running away, as we kind of mentioned. But in Game 1, it was Int Overflow and Scrim on that Ashe Lux bot lane that took over as well. So Game 3, it might just come down to the bot laners, and I'd love to see the teams kind of focus on that, get some early ganks into the bot lane, and not just necessarily from the junglers, maybe get your mid laners into the action as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've had enough action mid lane as well, right? There was a three-man pile up, we should say, on that poor Vigar. My poor baby just got run over in there, just not had a good time. But we've seen action everywhere, and I do agree that spotlight feels like it's currently shining on that bot lane. It is, if we see it go even, which we have not seen so far, it would be a very, very different tale. So I'd be interested to see how it goes on as well. We've also seen some champions be traded back and forth, across games 1 and 2. So I want to see what Game 3 brings us as we are back in this game with Waterloo back on the blue side.
Okay, the Samira ban still in effect here, and of course we should mention Waterloo blue side, as you said there, banning the Sivir. Okay, and the Zeri Brilliant Soul. So a lot of scaling champions kind of taken off the board here, and I was actually curious going to Game 3 whether we'd see Waterloo try and match scaling with Illinois Wesleyan, because it felt like there was a lot of pressure on them in Game 2 to make early action happen, and it actually backfired a little bit.
Well, right now we're taking a look at some of these champions come out as well, and there's a J4 having a bit of fun. The top lane, Ornn and Garen, but oh, there it is, the Victor. We were wondering if this was going to come out, and I'm excited to see it once again. But this time it is on the side of Illinois Wesleyan. But the appropriate setup here is just, what are we looking at, RMC? Because right now the Udyr and J4 are on opposite sides once again.
Yep.
The Scion ban, which I agree with, that was a Game 1 ban, but the Ornn and Garen just feel very beefcake brawl between these two who have played aggressive top laners for most of the time in this series.
Yeah, think back to Game 1, Camille versus Darius, okay, Garen Darius kind of similar, but we're starting to see tanks come back in, and as you mentioned, champion trading as well, right? The Victor now on the other side, taken away by Fright from Plex here, and Plex had a massive game. As much as we were saying that, it was Handy Taco who took over on that Sivir, the highest damage in the game was actually done by Plex on that Victor, especially in those latter team fights. And overall, it raised the question, are we going to see both teams go for that scaling here? Illinois Wesleyan, they're going right back to what worked for them, scaling with the Xayah Rakan, with the Victor here, and then you've got your bridge in that Garen, the J4. But Waterloo have doubled down on an early game. They go back to that Luxor into Overflow, a great champion, and again, one that helped carry that Game 1. And then Caitlyn for Scrim, another very oppressive lane champion as well. They have to smash the bot lane this time. If they don't have any scaling options. I see the Ornn, but Ornn by himself is not going to do it. He's not a carry damage.
Not at all. And you are hoping for that early game to go well. Senpai Cheese on his most played champion as well, or one of his most played on the Udyr. The one that does surprise me a lot, though, is Plex. Plex so far has played some scalers, right? The Victor and the Aurelion Sol, two champions that really like to get a lot of items under their belt. But this Ahri, so as I don't know if we mentioned it so far, but again, these players and these teams do actually draft beforehand. That way they can get actual swaps in and all that fun stuff. The Ahri was picked up as a counter to the Victor in conjunction with the Udyr, so this is honestly Waterloo sending a bit of aggression there and also hoping to have a chance to rotate out from that mid lane, start affecting the other lanes and making sure Plex is not locked down in a single kind of long hallway.
Or maybe just the Ahri wins out against the victor here. And if anything, maybe they're trying to get their bot lane out to the mid lane as fast as possible, and everybody just rotating as quickly as possible, because the laning phase didn't go well for them in game 2. And extended laning phases, again, into a team that wants to scale, you either smash the laning phase and isolate the laning phase to make that lead grow bigger and bigger, or you smash as fast as you can and get out of the lane, try and push the pace of the game, accelerate things quick as possible. And I'm starting to think it's the latter, because we're seeing the Caitlyn, right? And Caitlyn, out of all AD carries in the game right now, is probably the best at taking early turrets. Yes, a Tristana might be able to take it faster with the explosive shot, but Caitlyn, with her lane bully advantage, with the range advantage, lets her sit at that turret quicker, faster than almost anyone else. And to me, that's got to be the game plan for Waterloo here.
It really does. And I mean, with those headshots as well, being able to proc on towers, it feels good. It feels good. And not just that, we do have to talk about the fact that the Xayah was actually picked up in R2 position for Illinois Wesleyan. And so the Caitlyn Lux were a direct answer to that champion. I'm not sure how much of the lovers duo in the bot lane is going to do here. I haven't seen a Rakan in quite some time either.
Rakan's come back in because of buffs to engage supports, and Rakan's one of them. I think the Xayah Rakan should do decently. A lot of it depends on the Rakan, because one of the answers to Caitlyn Lux is engage. So if Rakan can dodge around those light bindings and actually find the engage, especially with a J4 on your team, a really strong ganking jungler, things will be fine. But it does involve jungle attention here. And Orbital, lovers bot lane. Fun fact about Illinois Wesleyan here. There are lovers on the team. It's not in the bot lane. Ruthless is actually dating right in the mid lane there. So for the rest of this game, this series, as long as it's Illinois Wesleyan, we shan't call the bot lane the lovers duo. If anything, I'd like to see the lovers actually happen on the Rift with Ruthless ganking Fright, because Rakan's a great ganking support and very different from what we've seen Ruthless play thus far. With the Janna, the Karma, like these guys don't roam quite as well as the Rakan. So now that you've got the ability to roam, love to see it impact the other lanes as well.
That dives into a little bit more, as we didn't get to talk about it, but there were also other notes, right? Talking about how Ruthless is one of, or if not, the primary shot caller for the team, for Illinois Wesleyan, being able to roam out and match some of that aggressive stance that Waterloo have given. This could be a very different game as well. I'm very excited to see what these teams decide to play into, how they want to give their attention in different areas, how that Rakan definitely plays out. I'll be honest, Rakan used to be one of my favorite supports. Very, very versatile. I love the champion to bits. So I'm excited to see it. I am excited to see it, and I'm excited to see what these two teams do decide to put out for game number 3. Keep in mind, everyone, this is for the marbles of who gets to stand as undefeated series-wise, because the gods have bled. They are now just demigods. They are just as mortal as some of the others, but they are looking to still hold on to that throne. It is an absolute slogfest battle for the mid-season standings, and I'm excited to see the conclusion.
And right away, we're rushing out onto the Rift here, Orbital. I was hoping for a level 1 so that, we start with some action. Don't think we're going to see it, but what we have seen is Senpai Cheese take an aggressive stance every single game. And game 3, no different. He's just walking in there, establishing dominance. I love the fact he actually didn't drop the ward into the bush. And Illinois Wesleyan, they can't see if they did. So they might just assume there's a ward in there. And if they do, I want to see what Senpai Cheese does with this. Where does he actually end up dropping the ward?
It's a lot of questions here. Still going to take some time. It looks like they are going to buff her up. No ward. Okay. So, said, you know what? I'll hang on to it for now. There was no perfect spot. I'll be okay without it. Into overflow. Going to start at about 4/5 mana, if you will. Saying I'm good for right now. And the singularity is going to give just a bare bit of information as we get a very, very, very quiet start to the game. I say that because we have seen poke go down every other time, and this time is the first time I think everyone's coming to lane without losing. Okay, well, cool. Thanks, Scrim. I love you too.
There you go. You want some action. Scrim's trying to give you that action there. A little bit surprised, actually, that into Overflow and Scrim didn't walk faster into that bush. Usually, with Caitlyn Lux, you'll see them try and get control of that middle bush as quick as possible. Landing an early binding can just decide the whole lane. The burst damage that can come out of a Lux Caitlyn at that level 1 can half health some of these squishier targets like Xayah and Rakan.
All right, there's the bullying that we were expecting to see. So more damage coming down, and as you said, the Lux Caitlyn going to be a menace across the board. It's going to be annoying, going to be frustrating. We'll have to see if the J4 is able to help, or if the Udyr is going to be even more of a pain. Both junglers opting for that full clear, saying this is all we really need to do. And Regretful Angel hitting level 2 first, said, I get priority on the wave. Feels good, man. Good times
Just
all around.
Caitlyn things. And that's exactly what you expect from that.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Int's Overflow said I might have slightly into that trade. Took a tower shot without really knowing it. And yeah, so bot lane's going to continue on that way. We can forget about that lane. I think we know what's going to happen. But, I mean, right now, Fable and Senpai Cheese, the last time this happened as well, I believe it was Illinois Wesleyan that actually chased into the river first. No, it was Senpai Cheese and Int Overflow that got control of the bot lane river first. My brain does not want to work today for some reason. I am lost.
I mean, I'd expect Senpai Cheese obviously to get control just because the bot lane's pushing so hard. What interests me is the fact that because Handy Taco half health on that trade there, if the junglers show up, Waterloo has the advantage. Problem is Senpai Cheese isn't here yet.
Senpai Cheese is definitely not here, but a great binding lands on 2. And Fable not allowed to follow through, so you know what, Int Overflow, whether that was by accident or on purpose, you just staved off death for your ADC.
Well, I'm sure it's intentional. I mean, we saw Int Overflow
Totally
play this
intentional.
last
Very, very
game 1, and he's really good at this champion here. And that was why I was a bit concerned with the half health, right? Handy Taco couldn't even get into the fight, so that was effectively Ruthless and Fable. They didn't have enough damage, and now they're paying the price for it, right? Still has Flash in the mid lane, had to burn it.
Had Flash is what we like to say. Plex also decided to jump in, but that is way too aggressive.
Nice.
Int Overflow was looking for it, and Scrim is going to walk forward, now just decides to walk away, and Fable said not today. The J4 tech makes it 2-0 in the bot side.
Let's go. Really well played from Fable there to punish that knock up over the wall into Int Overflow. And you can tell that Waterloo are feeling the pressure. They need to make the moves early. It's good in isolation. They just didn't track where Fable was properly, and that came back to bite them. And recall, Illinois Wesleyan, they are the skill in composition here. This is very similar to what happened at the start of Game 2 as well.
I'd almost say deja vu, just on different sides of the map, right? This is, you know, it feels good, but yeah, last time it did not happen under tower, so Int Overflow with Flash up is kind of like, okay, that was a little bit of a rough spot. We'll make sure not to have that happen again. They're going to try and go back to neutral, because keep in mind, even though Handy Taco did get one of those kills, it was only one. It was not the double kill, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Scrim's still up about 13 CS, so it's not like they totally came back with a pickaxe, right? It's definitely not like that.
Sure, bro. That isn't a pickaxe in Handy Taco's inventory.
Yeah.
Now,
That's that looks more like a longsword. That's all it is. You know, just a really awkward one. It was a dropout one from the blacksmith. Sorry.
Yeah, what is a pickaxe but a longsword on top of a stick, right? That's it. I still expect to see Scrim and Int Overflow win out in that bot lane. Still, even with just the Noon Quiver here, the range advantage is just too big. The question is, what happens if you get another gank again?
Yeah, and I mean, with Scrim not having any sort of summoner spells, Fable, all they need to do is land that EQ. They do, but should be able to live. A great shield from Int Overflow, and the Feather's not going to be able to do too much more. So Scrim gets to live with their life. And Ruthless and Handy Taco will watch as Fable decides to regank.
Got to clear that ward first. And
Yeah.
you got to be careful now, because it's enough time for Senpai to actually start responding and get down here. And Senpai Cheese kind of healthy.
Oh.
What?
Handy Taco showing off that it's not just a Samira, it's not just a Sivir, but the Feather Tech coming in here.
Okay, like, I knew they were low. I didn't realize how low exactly they were. And now they're going to keep on going, keep on looking for punish here.
Oh! Fable said, give me that chance, and still lives. The Fable lives on. Senpai Cheese down to 150. Plex is on the way. Plex, with 2 charges already burned, is now going to dive in and should get the kills. Ruthless is able to be a little bit ruthless, picks up a kill on the other side, but Plex is going to end up with a triple kill on that free roam bot lane.
To be honest, I mean, Illinois Wesleyan, it's a 3-for-3. It shouldn't be a loss for them. But I tell you who loses out in that trade. Right.
Yeah.
Like, Fred's like, hey guys, I'm doing a great job against the Ahri right now. Ahri 6, she's got the kill threat on me. I'm okay, I'll just keep farming. Next thing you know, Plex is missing. And the call-out was there. They knew Plex was coming. The problem was they wanted to kill on Senpai so badly that they went for it, and now they're overextended, and now they all suffer for it. But Handy, Taco, and Ruthless are going to be fine, right? They still got some of that farm. They got the kills. They're happy in that bot lane. They've managed to slow down Caitlyn Lux. Right now has to deal with a 3-kill Ahri coming back to lane with Darksteel, with Amptone. Right? You've got the Amptone, you've got the tier. You're already delayed here in terms of your build because of the tier. And now you're facing an accelerated Ahri who already has more mobility, higher kill threat, etc. I'm just waiting for Senpai to gank that mid lane.
Senpai's probably waiting for it too, right? Already in river, and yet Ahri decided to back because they wanted to actually spend their money. So I don't blame them, but like, it does look kind of funny. You can see it even there. Senpai's like, all right, you're not here to gank? Cool, I'll take your wave. Give me that wave. In true jungler fashion, I like it. But agreed, this is going to be a problem. Plex having a lot of flexibility to decide, are we going to gank this mid lane? Are we going to go bot? Are we going to go top? Wherever you do decide to go, make it work. Dragon has been up for about 3 minutes, but Waterloo Warriors say, hey, this Herald is going to be a bit more in our favor, so we're going to go ahead and take it, and then we're going to look for some other movements around the map.
Yeah, I agree. I think Herald is better for Waterloo at this point. The Dragons really don't matter. We're already 8 minutes, and Dragon stacking, if that becomes a win con for Waterloo, I think it's going to be too late. You just don't have the ability to match that Victor, that Zaya later, at the 30-minute mark there, and by the time you get that soul. That's kind of the time frame you're looking at. So instead, take that Herald, pick up the pace of the game, maybe go drop it bot. Because normally, at this point in the game, 8 minutes in, Caitlyn, Lux, they get kills or plates at this point. Oh,
good side step.
Yeah. But yeah, normally you drop your Caitlyn Lux would be ahead enough that it'd be okay. Because they're not, maybe you artificially inflate that and give them the Herald. I don't think Plux needs additional pressure. Plux already has 3 kills of his own.
He's already got 3, and Plex is like, but what about a second 3? Why not even more? I mean, it's an Ahri, right? You really do want it, and also picks up the Darksteel behind it. Same with
moving.
Senpai, so I mean, both of them are very excited to try and get more kills. So just as you said, right? Waterloo are also identifying they want these kills. They want to get extra gold. Handy Taco, though, is going to watch this. That's going to be a jump in. Ruthless is also going to fire off. Bottle Spark goes out, but the Cataclysm can't hold them all. Scrim gets the shield and gets the bind once again. Its Overflow is doing massive work. Fable gets eaten on the backside, is going to flag and drag out, and the slow doesn't land just yet, but the stun comes through. The binding isn't going to be enough because it hits the minions, but it's going to be good. Senpai Cheese picks up a kill, and that's 2 for 0 in the bot lane.
And a lot of this for Senpai Cheese is coming off Scrim and into Overflow. They are playing under the turret really, really well. They're playing defensively as Kate Lux. Not a situation you often find yourself, but they are making it work. And that's giving the leads to Waterloo. It's Illinois Wesleyan trying to force things. They don't need to. And we mentioned before, Waterloo, stacking Drakes is not necessarily a win con that they're looking for. But if you're going to give for free, they'll take it.
I mean, they'll take a lot. They're going to take a lot of extra gold. And I also like to point out that Regretful Angel has taken a lot as well. For 10.5 minutes, Sharkai has not been allowed to back. I was staring at the items, wondering what was off. And there is a single lone Doran shield in Sharkai's inventory. He is down about 20 CS because Regretful Angel just says you don't get to recall.
I have no sympathy for Sharkai here. You counterpicked the Garen into the Ornn. So this was your winning matchup, and you didn't take TP. You ran Ghost. So obviously you want to kill him. If you can't win out with all those advantages there, that's on you.
Yes!
Yeah, you're not going to win this. There's a Sunfire cape on Regretful Angel already. He's a legendary item up on you right from the get-go. But here's the thing, though. I haven't been talking about the top side because I don't think it matters.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true, but it's one of those situations that you don't see too often, especially in a game 3. It does show that, maybe they are a little bit more worried, right? This is, oh no. It might actually matter, right? It might actually matter here as this attempt, whether by plan or by chance, they've done it. They have sectioned off this poor Garen, who has no items, mind you, at level 9 if they get the dive off. Okay, they're calling in the TP. Are they going to go for it? Are they still going to go for it? Charm comes out, and they landed on Fright. Fright is actually going to be the one that's taken down. And that is one of the most unfortunate TP to deaths we have ever seen. Senpai Cheese would have died and Sharkai would have gotten some items, but they make it work. Now on the bot side, a little bit of retribution, and they're going to fire off a major set of ultis. But it still matters not, because guess who gets first tower? Guess who gets all the gold?
And Orbital, just leave the top lane alone. It doesn't matter who wins in the 1v1. What matters is what happens when everybody else dogpiles in. Fright's TP, that's illegal into an Ornn and an Ahri there. They know exactly where you're going to be, and you saw that CC chain come through. Instant kill, they pick up 2 kills, and they get this charge off. And because Fright died, Fright couldn't rotate up to stop the second Herald charge to come through. If you had just let Sharkive die, sure, you lose topside turret, you'll lose first break, and Sharkive dies. But the bot dive, you get 2 kills, and you set the Caitlyn behind, and you potentially get the bot side turret. That would have been a worthwhile trade. Now, Illinois Wesleyan are behind, which they've been for most of this game, to be fair, but further behind than they need it to be, when all they need to do is take your time and scale.
I can't believe it. It's one of those rare events that you see, and as you said, it fell right into Waterloo's pockets. They're so excited about this. And they gotta go back down in the bot lane and still continue their annoying pressure. Scrim only sitting at about, 4 CS, but getting the place behind it. Because of that duel on the bot side, they're still more than happy. And now that's the laser. Oh! That's gonna be ace in the hole, blocked by Ruthless. But I mean, Handy Taco living on an absolute prayer here.
Yeah, and Mythics, Orbital, that's what's making the difference in this bot side right now. And that changes the nature of the bot lane. Pre-Mythics, it's a lot about just how much burst you have. But now with that Gale Force, Scrim and Into Overflow have enough to instantly kill if they can land a binding here. Fable coming in.
Oh, great route. The trap is able to stave off a little bit of a fight. Maybe it's enough to get one of them out. Ruthless, though, is going to watch as a flash comes out of Scrim. Plex, though, in a 1v3 for a little bit of time. Not really a 1v3 because Scrim decides to turn back around, but Plex is down. It's a straight of 1-for-1. Senpai Cheese, though, said the Cheese is just too dang strong. A bear slap to the back of the head, and the miss on the flag and drag means it's a kill to Scrim, who has fought so hard this entire game.
And once again, it feels like if Illinois Wesleyan just cut their losses and leave, they're fine. Fable turned around to try and cover for Fright. No, Fright was dead. Fright even flashed it or went in to try and get into Overflow or Scrim, pardon me, to just try and find another kill. That trade, fine. 2 for 2, you kill Plex, who's hyper-fed, 5, 1, and 3. That's a win. 3 for 2, less of a win, and things continue being the same. Scarier is that Scrim is getting strong. Scrim is getting that push. Never mind. Scrim is also dead. I was just singing their praises, dude.
We are watching both these teams adjust to the fact that this is game 3. It feels like that mental game is bouncing back and forth because we've seen them play in very passive states and then very aggressive states. Like, oh man, I'm going to play safe. I'm going to be fine. And you get some kills and then all of a sudden they're dying because they overextended or something. Now we get a chance on the top side as Sharkive gets absolute revenge here. Said, I hate you, Ornn. Let me get this kill. He gets a solo on the top side as his team is taking Dragon. It's a cross-map play that they're going to try and aim for. Only about 1.4k left. Laser all the way out and almost a steal, but not going to happen. Now they got to try to trade for kills. You can't reach Handy Taco, though, as that Xayah still stays alive. Shut down and Dragon to the side of Illinois Wesleyan.
The idea from Waterloo was kind of desperate. Scrim wasn't there. Oh, okay. Well, Scrim might not be there, but Ace in the hole, very, very long range there. That bot side was a 4v3. Sharkive couldn't make it down. Doesn't have TP there. And Waterloo was just trying to make that happen. I don't think you needed that force. And it backfires a little bit because you lose Dragon and you lose the kill. Thankfully, Scrim able to equalize that. And that's the first time Regretful Angel did stop the back. Sharkive gets his back this time. I just realized how long that top side is. Regretful Angel can't find a push anyways because Richard's already down. Probably start rotating Regretful Angel to these fights because he's not going to be winning the 1v1. And besides, Ornn is much better at teamfighting than a Garen.
I mean, they're not going to take your advice, right? They're like, that's just a minion. I don't have to listen to him. Sharkive, though, is saying, I'm going to spin a little bit more, try and slice him up, is going for that full damage build, as all Garens do, and as you rightfully should. Regretful Angel also does not have that Mythic, and because of that, It looks like a little bit more pressure on the top side.
Contesting.
Yep, they're going to try and contest it as hard as possible. Herald down to a little bit of a low HP, but Scrim has to get away from the day 4. A great charm by the Rakan is going to solo out their death, and they're going to chase him further into the back line, but Fable is taken quite low. Plex wants to go for it, but it's silence, and that allows Fable to get out on the back line. It is the Orin that takes out the Rakan, and Handy Taco can't get much more than a few feathers into the damage spots, but look at that, the charm lands. Handy Taco has no out, and this is Waterloo saying, you gave us an opportunity. Plex is fed to high heavens, and Fright is able to take one before falling on their own. It is another 3-for-2 win. Herald is still on the table, and Waterloo barely scrape out a better team fight. Shark Eye, though.
It was.
No. Shark Eye. No. We've seen this once or twice. He's gonna go. He wants to kill, but can't eat through the shield. The charm wisp, but it does enough damage. And Shark Eye falls. The second death for him.
I feel like if you found Plux, with that, maybe you can kill Plux. But I mean, we've seen this happen with Senpai Cheese. The last time they went for that turret dive, second Herald being picked up by Waterloo. And Waterloo, honestly, they're in a good position right now, right? They needed to accelerate the pace of the game. They're getting what they need. They're getting the kills. They're winning these skirmishes. They're getting these Heralds as well. And I'm still not completely sure why Illinois Wesleyan is opting into that. They were so close. So many things were not in their favor. Handy Taco did not have Featherstorm available for that particular fight. And Ruthless, even though they lost the fight, I want to say that Ruthless is probably my MVP that fight. She managed to delay everybody, went in among all these melee champions, stalled them out, bought all the time for Illinois Wesleyan to come back in. And maybe that was what ended up baiting out the full fight. 2-for-3, Herald in pocket, Waterloo, where are they going to put the pressure?
I mean, that quickness was solid, and as you said, now the question is, what's the next goal here, right? Pairing up in a minute, but I don't think anyone's even going to try, and look at that one. Minute 43 on Dragon, but yeah, the Herald, right? You have plenty of time to open up that mid, which still has the outer tower, by the way. That thing has stayed up for as long as possible, while the rest of the Warriors side is completely untouched. That bot lane, yes, is getting quite low, but still has all the towers. So for Waterloo, I feel it's wherever they do choose to place it, wherever they want to work with here, they will have their opportunity. Senpai Cheese, though, says, I don't want towers. I want that vision to go completely dark around this dragon.
Yeah, and for Waterloo, the objective is less important than being able to bait out a fight at this point. If they can get the second dragon, good, great, but it's 20 minutes orbital on their second Drake, third of the game here. Dragon stacking, really unimportant to them. So if they can bait Illinois Wesleyan into the fight and get 4 kills, 5 kills, that's much more worth it. And they still have Herald in pocket as well. And also, because of the weird way this game has gone, they can actually use that Herald to crack topside inhibitor turret, especially if they can either draw Illinois Wesleyan down to the bot side, or if they can just flat out get the kills they need to force that inhibitor.
So many other options that they can work with. Are you willing to sacrifice the other side? Right? Are you willing to drop maybe an extra tower? Are you willing to give yourself maybe a little bit of a dangerous spot on the dragon? But right now, we're not too sure. Dragon up in about 15 seconds. More vision being cleared out, and Illinois Wesleyan have actually done quite well. You can see some of the ward laning. You can even see a deep ward as well. If Fright wants to try and get around, but that's going to be a dash in. Senpai Cheese on the flip is holding out 3 while the rest try and chase down 1. Handy Taco is taken quite low, doesn't have anything, so they are out of the fight. Because of that, Illinois Wesleyan, I believe, have lost most of their firepower on this dragon. It is Chemtech. I did lie. It is a Chemtech dragon. So we'll see what they can do here. Senpai Cheese running off the Garen. And again, Handy Taco is going to have to recall. It might just be a steal attempt.
Yeah, Fright actually recalling on this as well. No, I think you just abandoned this. I don't think you can actually walk into it. Look at the trap line that we see Scrim setting up. They've got full vision as well. And well played from Waterloo, trying to force that. They were actively hunting for the kill on the Handy Taco. Couldn't find it, but it does net them the turret and the dragon. And they can still set up potentially for this bird if they want to do the same thing. Now, problem for them is, what happens when the lanes are this long, right? Their composition is good at picking people off, but who are you going to pick? And for Illinois Wesleyan, as long as they group up, it's so hard. And we just saw that the dragon, for Waterloo to force things to happen. The split pusher, Shark Eye, great. You killed a Garen. We've already said this. Top lane doesn't matter. So, for Waterloo, without a dragon, the game state's actually not great for them. They've got to manufacture a pick some other way. Illinois Wesleyan, they're going around Baron, but they don't have to do it. Heck, they don't even have to really fight it. They just have to get vision on it to make sure Waterloo isn't doing.
I just want to stave off a bit of time, and I mean, still waiting for Handy Taco to also become a menace, right? Still has 2.5 items, is a menace in their own right, but also wants the safety in. In that last fight, I don't think we had pointed it out, but not only did they lose the ulti, which is now back up, of course, but they lost the flash and ghost. So at this point, Handy Taco is actually quite vulnerable. That was the other thing that they grabbed. Hey, maybe Waterloo are having to overextend to try and get these grabs, but it is worth it. They're not overextending and losing out. At least just yet. I am worried about the time that happens, and also the J4 is there to jump on the Ari or something like that. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, it is an even state. Both teams taking a ceasefire agreement, or at least you would think so, until Overflow decides to throw out a singularity. They're willing to try and farm up. Get ready for what could be another massive fight that they may or may not be expecting.
I mean, Handy Taco, sure, flash is down, but Dragon time is 3 minutes. So that's why I asked, like, what is Waterloo going to do to force Illinois Wesleyan to fight them and take advantage of those summoners being blown? I'm actually watching for Fright right now. I'm waiting for Fright to come online. The Seraph Embrace should be completed once they have enough gold there. And once Fright comes online, that's when Illinois Wesleyan become really, really scary. Handy Taco is already doing the damage. Hence why the moment Handy Taco was gone, Illinois Wesleyan didn't even bother fighting. But if Fright comes online, then you got to split the damage. And do you actually have enough damage to kill them both?
Well, you're going to have to stat check them as much as you want, but Senpai Cheese gives away their position, immediately bounces out of the jungle, and says we're good. I like how Senpai Cheese is like, I know you're going to check it. I might as well make it look a little bit like I'm trying to do this. Decided to hit the Baron a few times and then run away. I mean, Regretful Angel is doing Regretful Angel things. So, for right now, it seems, again, as you said, those summoner spells, at least the ghosts, will be up in time. Well, teams are just going to wait it out. It's, for once, a quiet moment in this series.
So, until I see a pick come through from Waterloo, or I see Regretful Angel leaving the bot lane, I'm just waiting for Dragon to spawn, bro.
So how's your day been, RMC?
Exactly. You beat me to the question. I was enjoying my day quite a bit today, Orbital. I had some 2 epic games to cast earlier, and then now we're to this. So how's your day been?
It went from high hopes, Spartan 300, whatever, to let's take a nice little walk here. But Waterloo, I think they're also bored. They're like, we want to still tease you with Baron. We just want to be annoying. I love this, right? They said we don't want to wait for Dragon either because our composition doesn't allow for it. So we're gonna bait Baron over and over again and hope you slip up. I respect it.
Yeah, I would if they actually could. So the problem is, it's not easy for them to bait Baron over and over and over again. They have to be careful. Oh, okay, Regretful Angel's here. Hey, that's one of the conditions. They're actually probably going to commit to something here.
Yeah, but where's Scrim? Scrim needs to be there as well. They're not burning it down as fast as they would like. And Fright's going to start getting some lasers down. Plex is looking for that angle. You can see it, right? They are dancing this. They're hoping for that. And they just saw the ward. It's still being burned down, though. So this has turned into a real attempt. That's going to burn the Featherstorm coming out. But now they go in. Who's going to get the smite? It is going to be Waterloo to pick it up. It's a trade of carries in the back line. So mid for ADC. But Scrim is ready to go. Fable goes in to try and sacrifice a life because they're giving time for the Garen to push. Fable said in Overflow, you gotta stay. You're not allowed to do anything else. The shield is going to get Regretful Angel to safety. But Scrim's going to try and keep their support alive. It was a risky Baron. They're able to make it work. And now Senpai Chi says, hey, Garen's no longer a threat. We can keep fighting. Great AoE in. Who's going to follow up here? The shield doesn't reach. So it's only going to be a little bit, but the laser is enough to deter them. And that leads Scrim to shut down Ruthless. Now Fright is on the backlines and dead. But this has allowed Garen to come and join the fight. It's a cross-map battle as the fight is ever going. This is ridiculous. Right now as they try and jump forward, Scrim gets flash shot and is going to fall. But the rest of the team is ready as Senpai Cheese is in full Conqueror mode. Plex has the dash. It's going to expend 1, 2, charm, and kill. Charm doesn't even have to land, as that is going to be the delayed ace for Waterloo Warriors.
And I feel like the story of this game, Orbital, has been Illinois Wesleyan getting tricked by the sunk cost fallacy. They keep going into fights they don't need to. Even Hattie Taco, what are you doing, man?
You have flash. That's all you really got. You're going to try to get over the wall. You flash backwards in the lane. And Ruthless is here to follow up, so at least that much is able to deter. But agreed, the sunk cost fallacy, stop trying to go for some of these things, please. You don't have to go for everything, even though I know you want to, and I appreciate you for it.
So, let's go back to Baron overall, because I had said you don't need Shark Eye here. And you could see Illinois Wesleyan's plan was just to contest the Baron, go for the 50-50 smite fight. Fable got in, Ruthless again. Huracan is really clean. She's getting in there, she's disrupting everybody, and that's what gave them the shot at the 50-50. If you don't get it, just disengage, right? You have a numbers disadvantage. And that was the odd part when, to me, Illinois Wesleyan opted to keep on chasing. And it kind of looked good for a second. But let's not forget, there's an Ornn on the other side. They can turn it at any moment, and they've got numbers advantage here. They did get bot side turret, so it's not completely wasted there. And again, Illinois Wesleyan, they're just looking to stall. So the big question is, can they stall? Baron push has not been effective for Waterloo thus far. The minions are all pushed out. And has it already been 2.5 minutes since Baron went down? Is that time right? It's already almost gone.
Right? This game is back to the, games 1 and 2 level up pacing, and it feels like, the early game, sure, bit slower, early to mid. We're reaching that mid to late period where the teams are like, yeah, we're going to get ready to go, and it's really behind Senpai Cheese as well. I have to give credit to this jungler who has been a menace right now, has been opting to eat this gem, and you can see it right there, right? Hey, ooh. I'm not sure, and that's going to be a laser coming across. Int Overflow may have gotten caught up in Senpai Cheese's cheese, and it might bite them back in the butt. This is a full-on chase. Senpai Cheese gets taken so low from the Garen execute, but it's not going to be a full execute. You're able to survive, but you gather 2 towers. That's a lot of bounty gold going back in your pocket. And Illinois Wesleyan have found a little bit of breathing room.
Okay, but I blinked and I missed it. Like, what just happened? We were just talking about Waterloo finding, Baron finding kills, and it feels like literally a blink of an eye. Baron's gone, and we're seeing Illinois Wesleyan great collapse in, calling that TP. They immediately punish Senpai Cheese and push in. They're the ones who actually got a turret off that Baron power play. And once again, like you said, it goes back to game 1, that 40-minute banger we had, where it doesn't feel like GOAT matters. It feels a lot like which team makes a misstep first. And in game 1, it was whoever pulled the trigger first often won the fights. Whereas here in game 3, it's starting to look like whichever team moves first, especially with imperfect vision, is being punished for it. And one death very quickly snowballs this game out of control. The fights aren't that close. In fact, once the first body starts hitting the floor, it tends to snowball one way or the other.
That is how I like my fights, though. Scrambled with an absolute mess of chaos in there. Nobody knows what's going to happen. If you lose your member first, you're first to fall. If you're going to be trying to kite it out, good luck to you. Right now, though, everyone's still prepping, and it's kind of interesting. These teams are full on trying to prep for Baron at 1.5 minutes, just like, we got to get that vision. It goes back to what you said, right? Whoever moves without perfect vision is going to fall or be punished for it, so got to get those pink words down. Got to get that farm up. Taking a look at items, 2 to 2.5, 3 currently on Shark Eye, who honestly has been looking much better after actually being allowed to buy. But the ornaments are starting to make their way through as well. Regretful Angel only has 1 more to go on Int Overflow.
Yeah, level 16 Ornn here in Orbital. Dragon's coming up in 1 minute 40 seconds. We know exactly what Waterloo want to do. They want to set up for this Dragon. They want to fight. My big question is Illinois Wesleyan going to show up there and actually fight them at the Dragon? It is Chemtech Soul. It is an impactful fighting soul with combat stats. But at the same time, I think the scaling from Victor and Zaya can probably outscale even the Ornn items, even the soul here. So if Illinois Wesleyan want to contest this, I need to see them start setting up for it. We're 1 minute away, roughly, and that's generally when you want to start posturing getting the vision down.
Oof. Good little tags, but into the charm they go, and Fable gets drawn in. The charm did land, and that's going to be the root. They've done it. They found one of the picks again off that mid lane, and now comes the Ornhorn. You get a knock up. Nobody, but it's enough to split them up. Ruthless is out. Handy Taco is out as well, but nobody body blocks. Nobody was able to get in there. Fright, what are you doing? You gotta protect your ADC. I don't blame you, though. It was a chaotic fight to begin with. Sharkeye hoping to get at least one. You're going to jump on Scrim, but look at all the charms. Look at all of the safety that Waterloo have. They found two and are rewarded with most likely not just one objective, but the second as well. Baron will burn very quickly.
Like, I was thinking Dragon, but with these kills, you go Baron right away. This is desperation from Illinois Wesleyan. They're just trying to stop this. They cannot stop it. Sharkeye, tank his member, but you're still alone right now. And, you know, we gave props to Senpai Cheese for engaging. Again, he does it. It looks scary. It looks kind of brute forced. And it looked like he got caught by Fable over that wall there. But Plex, 10-2-8, 16 stack Magi's, is actually able to follow this game. And this duo, this jungle mid, they're finding these picks over and over and over again.
I love the scrappiness. I love what they are doing. And if that second objective was not secure, it is now. They have gathered all pieces of Exodia and are ready to storm down mid lane. It is Soul, it is Baron, and it is now overwhelming strength. Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield look like they got a few cracks in that shield.
And Fright, he's picked up the Void Staff now. For Illinois Wesleyan, we've been saying scale, scale, scale. Well, you skill. The time to fight is now. You don't have a choice. Waterloo is now barreling down, as you said, with the pieces of Exodia, Baron. So they're going to try and make things happen. Taco, again, eats it. Ruthless did not manage to block this one. And Taco wants to recall, but if they recall, they're guaranteed to lose this inner turret almost immediately.
I mean, you don't have a choice now, as Scrim says, get out of here. The spotlight's on bot lane, and I'll make it so once again. An assassin from the front as the base is now being broken. RMC, this could be the end. No ADC for 35 seconds. Garen coming from the back line, so we got to keep eyes on that one. And Plex says, not today. I'll run you off the side. It's a very short wave. It's about one cannon, and that's about it. But you're going to try and take as much as possible. Yeah, you're just going to force that to charm. You landed. You got the victor. That's the carries. The Cataclysm actually locks the rest of Illinois Wesleyan inside of the pit, and it is death. GA ain't going to save you now as Waterloo Warriors battle their way to keep their undefeated season alive. You might have dropped the game, but you secure the series. Fountain Farm for the ace as they take the game.
Welcome to the NECC Waterloo Warriors Black. This team is absolutely cracked, and the pressure was on them to perform. I love the fact that in game 2 they dropped an early game composition, lose to a skilling comp, come back game 3 and said, we double down. We picked Caitlyn Lux. The lane did not go well. Let's say no bones of it. Scrim and Int Overflow did not win the lane. But yet they come back with that supposed to be early game composition, find the picks they needed to make it work here and beat out Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield. Oh, bro, huge props to this team. And Senpai Cheese, they said he was the player to watch. Well, we're seeing why. Under pressure, he's the one making these plays, finding these picks, setting up for Scrim into Overflow as well.
Huge props, though. This was not easy, and I'm so glad that it is a full 3-game series. We were a little bit worried at the beginning. We were talking about it between us two, and I kind of sat there and I was like, it might be, you know, a situation of a 2-0. I was wondering about the strength of both these teams and maybe one outclasses the other because they hadn't met before. And yet they are so neck and neck. I mean, huge props to Ruthless being an absolute goat on that recon later. This team has so much character behind it.
Yeah, and for Illinois Wesleyan Titan here, I also do want to point out, last split, when they won the Champions Heartlands division, they went 4-4 in the regular season. So, early results don't always matter. Sword took time to grow into their own and really popped off in the playoffs. So, for Illinois Wesleyan Titan Shield, this is only week 4. They still have another whole half a split to grow, and then playoffs to come. And with the performance they had tonight, overall, it could have gone either way at any moment. So, they're already a really strong team. They will continue growing. But the neck belongs to Waterloo. And they too will grow. They are new here to the NECC. They're showing their stuff, their hands, really good. Their mental, really good as well overall. And yeah, I'm glad that even though we only got one series here on the channel tonight, that we got this one.
Yeah, listen, I want every single one of those members on my solo queue teams because, my gosh, we can come back from anything. Congratulations to Waterloo, a hard-fought battle by Illinois Wesleyan Titans. You guys put on one heck of a series, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in for this broadcast tonight. My name is Orbital. With me has been a random minion caster. We are going to head out for the evening. I got to send him back home to his family on the Rift, and we will see you all next time. Thank you so much.